Hello everyone, welcome to another MAGA Cope stream. How is everyone doing? Hope you're having a good week so far. We have apparently an unhinged press conference from Donald Trump to take a look at. I haven't seen it yet, though I've seen a few clips, so we're gonna watch that together. If we get through that, we also have the interview he did with streamer Adin Ross, famous butt sniffer. Not a joke, look it up. Anyway, so this should be good. Hey VC Archives, how's it going? I'll have everyone know I discussed it with VC Archives, and we're working on a little something for our crossover. So that's happening. I did it. I did a message like an adult. Hey Beth, how's it going? Phoenix, both leftist and 2250. How's it going? I think I got a package that I believe came from Phoenix Leftist. I'll have to look at the note. But it came with a 4-film Free Willy collection. That's right, not just Free Willy, but Free Willy 2, Adventure Home, Free Willy 3 The Rescue, and Free Willy Escape from Pirates Cove, which doesn't have the original kid in it, but it is part of the FWEU, which is important. So thank you. I'll have to take a look at the note. Because there was a note that came with this as well as the book, because a book came too. Let's see. Enjoy your gift from Phoenix Leftist. Yes, indeed. So thank you, Phoenix. Much, much appreciated. The Free Willy collection, as well as the book, which is right here. Why are there more Free Willy movies? This Free Willy's great. How dare you? I'm a huge Willy head. Anyway, the book is The Big Book of Big Secrets. This is from a series that I have a bunch of on my wish list. They're basically just books full of trivia, which I love, because I have ADHD, and I love just reading little passages about trivia that I can pick up and put down whenever I want. So, yeah, this has all sorts of different topics in it. If you want something to get me at some point, because you enjoy the show, and you want me to have other weird facts in my head to share with you, you can look for books like this on my wish list. They're all of similar style. They're like a book like this, and it's like the big book of blank. And then there's a photo. So that's cool. Thank you muchly, Phoenix Leftist. And I think that catches us up. Let's see what else I missed in chat, if anything. Steve with a Q, thanks for 25 stream streaks as a quarter centennial streak. That's pretty impressive. Steve with a Q, thanks for 46 months, says, oh, and 46 months subscribed. How would I miss that? Fenekagami says, speaking of Tate, have you heard that transvestigators now think Tate is trans, allegedly because they can't see the bulge in one of his pictures? Yeah, I saw a tweet that Baja sent me that was basically them being like, this is a champion tuck job, even by, like, drag queen standards. I don't know what that... Like, obviously, Tate... I don't have any reason to think Tate is trans, but goddamn, you just couldn't see a bulge in that picture at all, and you'd think you would. Anyway. We're all caught up. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and like the stream. We are a little over halfway to the Costume Month Part 3 goal, so if you like me wearing silly costumes or cool costumes or whatever, drop a tip with the tip link. And then when we get to that, we'll do Costume Month 3, as well as buy a new costume voted on by chat. So that's cool. Otherwise, if you want to support the stream, bits, super chats, subscriptions and memberships all help out tremendously. So with my self-promotion out of the way, let's just get into it. Trump at Mar-a-Lago had this press conference. He's not been doing great. Kamala Harris, as well as her running mate Waltz, have been doing pretty good. Have been doing pretty good in the media. The polls are showing a huge shift towards Kamala, and it's been pretty good. So let's see Trump, I don't know, trying to get attention, I guess? Trey says, hey Hannah, thanks for distracting me from this ungodly heat. Feel free to share the pic I sent of you of how hot it was yesterday at 5:30 a.m. When was that? Okay, I'll have to look.
Appreciate you.
But see, that's the thing. Don't live in a desert. Don't live in a desert. Have you considered?
You're being here. Just to stay.
I have not seen this yet. I've seen clips, like I said, but I've not seen the whole thing. So let's check it out.
Before I talk about debates, I think that our country is right now in the most dangerous position it's ever been in from an economic standpoint, from a...
You familiar with the rest of American history?
safety standpoint.
I repeat my former statement.
Both gangs on the street and, frankly, gangs outside of our country in the form of other countries that are, frankly, very powerful. They're very powerful countries, and we don't know what we're doing. We have leadership that has no clue how to handle them or how to handle any other situation. We have a lot of bad things coming up. You could end up in a depression of the 1929 variety, which would be a devastating thing. Took many years, took decades to recover from it.
You know what helped recover from that, Trump? It was the New Deal, among other things, of course. But just saying, weird to point out the depression and then not point out the policies that helped us climb out of it. Speedo Spank with 100 bits says, Hannah, do you ever get the Garbage Pail Kids I sent? I feel like they got lost. Oh, the cards? No, I got those. It was a while back, but I did get them, so thank you.
And we're very close to that, and we're very close to a world war. In my opinion, we're very close to a world war. We have people...
In my opinion, we're very close to a world war. You better vote for me, or else we'll have a world war, and that's not good.
People that don't know how to handle it. They're not respected. All over the world, they're laughed at.
Trump has literally been laughed at by the UN General Assembly on camera. We watched it happen.
And we can't have that. Most dangerous period of time I've ever seen for our country. With that being said, we have somebody that hasn't received one vote for president, and she's running.
It's almost like she was the vice president on the ticket. Weird. Benekagami says the transvestigators are getting even dumber. Apparently now they think Dylan Mulvaney was born AFAB, then transitioned as a child, then transitioned again as an adult to a woman. They call them double flippers. This seems to be how they explain passing, I think. That's certainly something for them to believe. Oh boy.
And that's fine with me.
I turned him up a little bit. Is that better, or do you need more?
But we were given Joe Biden, and now we're given somebody else. And I think...
Hey, fun fact, we voted for both of those people. And they got more votes than you. So maybe chill out, my friend.
Frankly, I'd rather be running against somebody else. But that, that was their choice. I think, frankly, I'd rather be running against somebody else. But that was their choice. They decided to do that because Kamala's record is horrible. She's a radical left person at a level that nobody's seen.
Literally, Karl Marx looked at Kamala and said, I don't know, it's a little much for me. I'm just saying, she's a radical communist. I talked to my good friend, Elon Musk, about it, and he was very sure, in his genius opinion, that Kamala is a radical Marxist.
She picked a radical left man that is, he's got things done that he has positions that are just not, it's not even possible to believe that they exist.
Can you believe that this man wanted people in the bathrooms of public schools to have tampons for when they have their period? Anyone, can you even believe this? He wanted children to have food for their education. This radical communist agenda must be stopped.
Exist. He's going for things that nobody's ever even heard of. Heavy into the transgender world, heavy...
Let me tell you, I did research. I got also heavy into the transgender. Okay, I gotta stop. This video's gonna take 5 hours to go through of every line I pause and try and do a stupid line. We're moving on!
Into lots of different worlds having to do with safety. He doesn't want to have borders. He doesn't want to have walls. He doesn't want to have any form of safety for our...
He doesn't want to have a really ridiculous, not effective wall that costs billions of dollars. How else is he going to pay his friends through the government pocket?
Country. He doesn't mind people coming in from prisons, and neither does she, I guess, because she's not... She couldn't care less. She's the border czar. By the way, she was the border czar 100%. And all of a sudden, for the last few weeks, she's not the border czar anymore, like nobody ever said it. And I just hope that the media becomes more diligent, more honest, frankly, because if they're not going to be honest, it's going to be much
More like Tim No Walls. Got him.
tougher to bring our country back. We have a very, very sick country right now. You saw the other day with the stock market crashing. That was just the beginning. That was just the beginning.
Didn't it already, like, correct up? Like, don't get me wrong, I think the market's overinflated given the actual material situation of, like, how much stuff costs and how that clearly is going to be affecting, like, the bottom line of companies because people have less income to spend on extra things. But, like, I'm pretty sure the market itself did already recover. It was like a 3 to 5% loss one day, and then I think it went back. It was mostly because this was an international issue. Japanese markets, this is actually interesting. The Japanese equivalent of the Federal Reserve raised their interest rates, which they haven't done in a very long time. And it's actually a situation where I guess Japan for some time, I don't know why they did this, but had a negative interest rate. And they actually increased it to a positive interest rate, thereby, you know, making markets panic. And the Japanese market opens before the US one, so it kind of, like, rippled. It was a big chaos in the Japanese market that then, you know, echoed as markets opened across the world. But it undid, so.
Begin. It's going to get worse.
Lazarus Faustus says Democrats aren't bothered by getting Kamala over Joe, so maybe Republicans should put up for a new primary if they're so pressed about it. I'd love to watch them spend millions of dollars to get the same results, right? Right?
Worse. It's going to get a lot worse, in my opinion. And
how does one enter the transgender world? You have to get one of those shark plushies, the Blahai, from an IKEA, and befriend it, and eventually they'll whisper the secret in your ear.
Fortunately, we've had some very good polls.
It was also partially because the crypto and AI bubbles are starting to look like they'll pop soon. Yeah, crypto did drop. I don't know if that recovered. But a lot of the stuff like Nvidia, who's been the only one really benefiting from the AI stuff because they've been selling shovels during a gold rush, their stock went down because people are realizing, oh, we fell for another stupid Silicon Valley thing. We're so good at this.
Polls over the last fairly short period of time. Rasmussen came out today. We're substantially leading, and others came out today that we're leading, and in some cases substantially. I guess MSNBC came out, or CNBC came out also with a poll that was...
All of the BCs, especially the one from the comics. That one is my favorite. Those cavemen are hilarious. Bumble Homestead says, oh shit, I thought my subscription covered my entrance to Transgender World. No, you gotta get a season pass for that.
Leading fairly big in swing states. In some polls, I'm leading very big in swing states because they want safety. People want safety. They want security. They want respect all around the world for our country. They don't want this horrible culture that is developing, a culture of no common sense. It's really a culture of no common sense, and it's...
Donald Trump considers himself common sense, and that makes my brain hurt. H. Baird says a lot of crypto bros are backing Trump in exchange for the government buying up billions of dollars of crypto so they can cash out. Oh, I'm aware. I saw his crypto speech at that conference. Phyllis Filler says Walz brought the Minnesota legislature into special session multiple times to pass reform bill in the wake of George Floyd's murder. They kept saying they couldn't make a deal and ended the session, and each time he was like, nope, you're gonna do your jobs and fix the law. Fenekagami says, don't you just love how the right make up a thing like borders are literally the only they believe, and that's when it's convenient for them to pay attention to people telling them it's not a thing. Then they go, look at everyone trying to gaslight us over their flip-flop. Overthought says, thanks to our wonderful system, he can stare at national polls all he wants. If he loses swing states, he's SOL. Yeah, things are actually closer in swing states than the polls make it appear. Harris is doing really well nationally, but in swing states, it's still really close. Her momentum is good, and hopefully it continues, especially as we get closer to the election and more uninformed voters start paying a little bit of attention. But I don't know. We'll see. I feel more hopeful than I did when Biden was the head on the ticket, though, so that's good.
It's not what anyone wants. We want to have a safe country. We want to have a strong military. We want low interest rates, and we want to be able to have the American dream. We want to be able to have our youth be able to buy homes, housing, get good jobs.
How?
And we're
doing
really
what?
just at the...
Trump, How do you expect them to do that? How are you going to increase the home supply or make, the price go down? Increasing the supply would do that in theory. What are you going to do? Just say it?
Right now, it's so sad to see. But as a border czar, she's been the worst border czar in history, in the world history. I think the number is 20 million, but whether it's 15 or 20, it's numbers that nobody's ever heard before. 20 million people came over the border during the Biden-Harris administration. 20 million people, and it could be very much higher than that. Nobody really knows what the number is. Nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. And the gotaways, they call them the gotaways. The gotaways are at numbers. Somebody was quizzing me on it the other day. No, I don't think so, sir. I don't think so. They have no idea what those numbers are.
So was he just using big numbers and justifying it by saying, like, we don't know. We don't know how many we didn't count, so I'm going to add a bunch to the number. I just realized my Trump impression is almost a Cartman impression. Try and do kind of a deeper Cartman impression, and that's Trump. Brain Injured Gamer says, one thing you'll notice is that you can't hear the reporters, so you have no idea what the questions are. It's almost like they didn't mic them intentionally.
But they're much higher than you would think. Just like far more people were killed in the Ukraine-Russia war than you ever report. Just like
And whose fault is that, Donald? Whose fault is the Ukraine-Russia war? Who instigated this conflict?
Like the October 7th would have never happened.
Oh, we're on a hype train, 29% to level 1 on the hype train.
Russia would have never...
If you do this hype train and want to help out, bits, subscriptions, tips, all of the above helps. Harold Elbleman, thanks for 36 months, says 4 babies and 3 anniversaries. So glad to be in this community. This sub-baby's name is gonna be... Zarista Border. Zarista Border, okay? This is one of my favorite sub-babies. Zarista, okay? She's very, she's got... she's got Southwest flavor, okay? Okay, this kid's going far. This kid's going far.
Hit Ukraine had the election result been called differently. It was a very bad call, but Russia would not have attacked Ukraine. October 7th in Israel would have never happened. You wouldn't have inflation.
What? Specifically, I would have punched Hamas in the face myself before anyone died. Okay. H-Baird says, Penn and Teller's BS did an episode about how most people are not only bad at math, but scared of it. So just throwing out numbers, even if they don't mean anything, can help overwhelm and distract people, making it easier to scam them. Oh, lovely. Vito Spank with 100 bits, thank you. 69% to level 1. Nice.
Great things would have happened, but now you have millions and millions of dead people, and you have people dying financially because they can't buy bacon, they can't buy food, they can't buy groceries, they can't do anything.
I literally had bacon the other day! Like, yesterday I had bacon! I had bacon! You can get bacon! What are you talking about?
And they're living horribly in our country right now. With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates, and we've agreed with...
Hey, remember when you pulled out of the debates before this because you're afraid that you're going to do bad? This is hilarious, by the way. I did hear about this.
Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with...
He's like, okay, Kamala, I will definitely really do the ABC debate that I said I was going to do. But first, you have to go on Fox News with me, with an audience chosen by Fox News. And then I'll definitely come to the ABC one after. So clearly the intent was, yeah, sure, I'll do the ABC debate, but you gotta come debate me on Fox News turf with an audience that's gonna be hostile. And clearly if she had agreed to that, he would have dropped out after that. He wouldn't have done the other debates. He's so transparent, and he thinks he's smart, and it's very weird. Lance is trying to love herself. Thanks for 12 months. Says, oh, hey, I could catch a stream. This means I probably shouldn't be awake before my job tonight, but that's a problem for future me. Yeah, future you. Fuck 'em. Am I right?
With NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th. And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th.
Over level 1 of the hype train?
So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor.
What does he mean, fairly full agreement? He means he talked to them and didn't talk to the Democratic side at all.
Details, audience, some location, which city would we put it into, but all things that will be settled very easily. I think it'll be very easy. The other side has to agree to the terms. They may or may not agree. I don't know if they're going to agree. She hasn't done an interview. She can't do an interview. She's barely competent. And
She's been doing rallies all over the place.
Can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight. Why is it that millions of people were allowed to come into our country from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions? And
here's this thing again where I think he thinks people seeking asylum means they come from a mental asylum. Like, someone needs to verbatim just ask him about this directly. Because it's so, like, I feel like a lot of us are kind of having the vibe that, like, does he think seeking asylum means mental asylum? And no one's called him on it to his face? And I'm very curious.
Insane asylums, even insane asylums, it's a mental institution on steroids. That's what it is.
They're synonyms! They're synonyms!
When you see the people that are coming into these are institutions.
In fact, I heard about in Gotham, Arkham Asylum, okay? Amadeus Arkham, he built a big, beautiful asylum. It was meant to be incredible for the city of Gotham. And then Batman comes in and he keeps putting people in the asylum. And they keep breaking out. Kamala, you who the insane asylums are. Why weren't you stopping the Joker? I'm sorry, I lost it. I'm sorry, I can't.
That are being emptied out, not in South America, all over the world, including South America, all over the world. Prisons are being emptied out into our country because we have a president that's the worst president in the history of our country. We have a vice president who is the least admired, least respected, and the worst vice president in the history of our country.
Everyone that I don't like is the worst, and I am the best, and all of you can suck it, okay? Do I make myself clear? She's the worst, and on top of that, she's a woman. Have none of you noticed? She's a woman! What's up with that? It's weird! I beat one of those already. Why are we doing this again?
The most unpopular vice president, and because of political reasons or because of being politically correct, even though she never received.
Oh, he's really saying it. Okay, all right. My mockery apparently was too on the nose. A minute left on the hype train, 0% to level 2.
To vote. Don't forget, she was the first one defeated, as I remember it, because I watched it very closely. But she was the first one. She never made it to Iowa, the first state. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one that was defeated. She was the nastiest.
He's literally talking about 2020. He's talking about shit that happened 4 or 5 years ago.
To him, she was nasty with the calling him a racist and the school bus and all of the different things. She was very nasty to
Bilderberg. Thanks for 20 months. How you
Biden.
Doing? 20 seconds left on the hype train.
And shockingly, he appointed her, asked her to serve as vice president. Well, I don't know if he's happy about that decision right now. This was taken away. The presidency was taken away from Joe Biden.
He so misses Joe Biden. It's hilarious. He wants him back so bad. Please, Joe, please come back to the race. Now I'm the crazy old man in the election, and I don't like it. Everyone's calling me weird.
And I'm no Biden fan, but I'll tell you what, from a constitutional standpoint, from any standpoint you look at, they took the presidency away.
No, they didn't. He's not even not the president right now. He just dropped out of the race. What are you talking about?
And people were saying he lost after the debate. He couldn't win. Well, I don't know that that's true necessarily.
You were literally saying it.
But whether he could win or he couldn't win, he had the right to run. And they took it away. They said they're going to
He dropped out.
use the 25th Amendment. They're going to hit you hard. Either we can do it the nice. I know exactly, because I know a lot of people on the other side, believe it or not. And they said, we'll do it the nice way or we'll do it the hard way. And he said, all right. So that, I mean, they've really taken, what they've done is pretty incredible. And now I'm running against somebody else, and we're leading. We're leading. So I'm not complaining.
Polls don't show that.
I'm saying it's
Wasn't he and other Republicans calling for the presidency to be taken from Biden anyway? Shouldn't he count that as a win instead of whining about it? Well, because they don't actually want what they want. When they catch the car, they're like, oh, wait, no. We were just trying to use that rhetorically. We didn't actually want you to do it. They don't mean what they say. They just say stuff they think makes them win. And they made a terrible miscalculation.
Country with a constitution that we cherish. We cherish this constitution.
Trump literally did a tweet on Truth Social where he's like, this last election was so bad, we need to overturn the Constitution in this one moment. Like, he fucking tweeted shit like that, as if Trump gives a fuck about the Constitution. Fuck off.
To have done it this way is pretty severe, pretty horrible. You would have thought they would have gone out to a vote. They would have had a primary system. They would have done something. But to just take it away from him like he was a child. And he's a very angry man right now, I can tell you that. He's not happy with Obama, and he's not happy with Nancy Pelosi, crazy Nancy. She is crazy, too.
He did it. He called someone a name. I've never seen that before from you, Don. Good job. Yay. Calling people names at 80 years old, you fucking loser. Benekagami says, remember everyone, Trump is never nasty. He just constantly insults your family. Hey Trump, remember when you and your supporters ran an entire witch hunt against your opponent's son because you had nothing on Joe but Kamala is the nasty one? Sure, Jan.
She's not happy with any of the people that told him that you...
Okay, I gotta read this because it's funny. Jaden says, please Joe, you gotta believe me. You gotta trust me. Please come back so I can win. You're my little Pookie Bear. The littlest. You wouldn't believe it.
You've got...
This is just me doing the obnoxious Trump impression stream. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Will Kale with a 70 stream streak says, me watching the dumpster fire of a press conference is better than watching that video of the woman getting the word Trump tattooed across her forehead. Ugh. That's gonna age like fine wine that you mixed with a lot of milk.
Got to leave. He's very unhappy, very angry, and I think he also blames her. He's trying to put up a good face, but it's a very bad thing in terms of a country when you do that. I'm not a fan of his, as you probably have noticed, and he had a rough debate, but that doesn't mean that you just take it away like that. Or you go out to a vote, you do something. He had 14 million votes. She had no votes. She got no votes. And
she was on the ticket.
I think she's crashing. I think when people find out, and I think people are starting to find out what a bad job she did, what a bad job she did on the border. She's trying to say she had nothing to do with the border. She had everything. She was appointed to head the border. And then they said borders are, oh, she loved that name, she loved that name, but she never went there. She went to a location once along the border, but that was a location that you would love to go and have dinner with your husband or whoever. That was a...
She never went to the border, except when she did. And when she went to the border, it was so nice you would have dinner there. But the border, trust me, it's a bastion of crime. But this particular part of the border was nice. You'd have dinner. But it's awful. And she is killing your family at the border where it'd be nice to have dinner with your family.
Location that was not part of the problem. That was not really going to the border. So essentially, she never went to the border. And if you listen to Tom Homan, if you listen to the great border people, Brandon Judd, from Border Patrol, if you listen to Paul, I mean, so many different people. I speak to them all the time. And I did when I was president. We had the best border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. Millions of... That's
all he has. Best and worst. That's how things are. It's a binary. This man had nuclear codes. He had them for 4 years.
The people coming in, and our country cannot sustain it. Our country is going down because of this, because of incompetent people.
Jaden says, you seem to forget Trump doesn't think VPs matter at all. She's at fault for all the things wrong with Biden, but also isn't anything and meant nothing to no one. Yeah, when asked about Vance, he was like, VPs don't really do anything. They don't affect the ticket. It's fine. And now he's trying to be like, oh, she, as vice president, she was responsible for everything. Phyllis Filler says his lexicon of adjectives is smaller than each of his tiny hands.
So I just look forward to these debates. I think it's very important that we have them. I hope she agrees to them. September 4th, September 10th, September...
The one on the 10th was agreed to previously. That was the only one that was already agreed to. And you're just trying to be like, I would like one on Fox News. I would like Fox News to give me the questions.
25th. And I think they'll be very revealing. I think they'll be very revealing. Do you have any questions, please?
A few.
I haven't recalibrated strategy at all. It's the same policies, open borders.
He was asked, given that you're doing badly, are you going to recalibrate strategy? And he says, no, not at all. I've not recalibrated strategy one bit.
Weak on crime. I think she's worse than Biden because he got forced into the position. She was there long before. She destroyed San Francisco. She
destroyed San Francisco. I thought that was the apes from Planet of the Apes. Moss Sloth says, I like how he called Kamala nasty for saying critical things about Biden as if his own running mate didn't call him Hitler. Will Kale says, Stone Corbell says, yes, Mr. Trump, I have a question. What?
He destroyed California as the AG. But as the DA, she destroyed
California. As we all know, California, like the 6th biggest economy on the planet, separate from the United States, is just doing terribly, obviously.
San Francisco, friend of mine, Bob Tisch, all know the Tisch family.
A friend of mine, Bob, he lives in San Francisco. He's a morning show presenter. He lives with his brother-in-law and friend. He does a good Popeye impression. Together they have antics with their children. It's beautiful. They hug at the end. I know Bob very well. Tea with Goblins, thanks for gifting a sub.
He was in many cities with companies. He said the greatest city in the country is San Francisco. That was about 20 years ago. And he passed away a while ago. And
Catalina Gearbox says, is it me or does Kamala's VP pick look like Tim Conway? Guess I hadn't noticed.
Would be looking down and said, what happened? He thought it was the best city in the country. He had divisions there.
I remember in the early 2000s, right-wingers also talking about, like, California and San Francisco. So now they're saying 20 years ago San Francisco was great? Wow, we're in a constant state. It's like DC Comics. There's always a trailing 5. Like California was always nice 20 years ago, no matter when 20 years ago was. Oh. Penikagami says, have you seen him talk about his negotiations with other countries? He talks like a child. He goes, I called them up and told them, you give me this thing and get nothing, and they respect me so much they did it. I told them to stop fighting, and I was so strong, they did it. How childish is his basis worldview that they listen to this guy and not think he sounds ridiculous? They're very, very dumb. They're very uneducated and have very myopic worldviews. Jay Rodimus with a 7-stream streak says, it's so funny to me that he keeps harping on the border when Kamala's actually harsher about border security than he is. It's one of the 2 things I really don't like about her. She's still gonna vote for her, to be clear. I'm just amused by the irony. Oh, it's hilarious. She's both a radical communist and also was a former prosecutor. like that's, they're trying everything. They're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
And he would be looking down in horror now when he sees she destroyed no cash bail, weak on crime. She's terrible. And yet they weaponized the system against me. They have me. I got so...
Really? We're doing this now? Is it the time of the day for him to complain about him getting caught for his crimes?
So many lawyers. Now they want to delay cases. I won the big case in Florida. I won the big case. Nobody even...
He didn't win the big case. Judge Cannon, who was incredibly biased the whole time, on very specious grounds, dropped it, and it's being appealed to higher courts, and I gotta imagine she's gonna get fucked over that, because she was being ridiculous.
And wrote about it. The big case, the judge was a brilliant judge, and all they do is they play the ref with the judges. But this judge was a fair but brilliant judge. And as you probably heard, the big documents case, I won it. Now, Biden lost it because he didn't have presidential immunity. He didn't have the Presidential Records Act. He lost it. But the special, I call it prosecutor, special counsel, special prosecutor to me, he, appointed by him and appointed by Garland, he said the man's incompetent. He can't stand trial, but he can run for president. But we no longer have to worry about that because we have somebody that, in my opinion, is more incompetent. She couldn't pass her bar exam and lots of other things.
She passed her bar exam on the second try. Most people don't pass the bar exam the first time, for the record. She passed it after the second time. And that was probably about 4 decades ago now. Because again, Kamala's like 60 years old. So, you know, she's a full-grown adult with a career. She was a prosecutor. She was a senator. She was the vice president, and currently still is. I assure you, she passed the bar.
And she should not be in a position.
Phyllis Filler says Waltz was in the Minnesota Air National Guard for over 20 years, far longer than Vance was in the Marines and reached the rank of Sergeant Major. Yeah, and they're still trying to call him stolen valor. It's fucking pathetic. All these people have are lies. It's all they have.
Position, because if she becomes president, our country is going to be a giant fail. It's going to fail. It's going to be a...
Did he just say America's going to be a giant fail?
Failure, the likes...
Top 10 country epic fails. Number 1, the Weimar Republic.
Of which this world has never seen. Yeah, please. No, how about you? You have to speak louder.
A big part of the strategy for your campaign before Harris became the nominee was appealing to black voters. That's
Yeah.
something you were really going after. In polls, we really see Harris gaining ground with that group, and I'm wondering how you are going to go after black voters.
I think she's asking about his comments about Kamala's race. Could be wrong. Hard to decipher. Benegami says they're trying to see what sticks, but nothing is because they've trained their audiences to be so simple-minded, be so trained on a single thing that now that Joe isn't in the race, it's likely to take years for them to recalibrate and eventually coalesce against Kamala. I think they'll find something before November, just like monkeys on typewriters. At some point, they'll come up with something that clicks with their audience and, like, it widely spreads, but this period of them flailing has been wonderful. Marcus Drake says, the LSAT, which is the law SAT, and bar mean nothing about how good a lawyer you are, and basically every lawyer knows this. A judge I worked for during law school called it nothing more than professional hazing.
Well, it changes around a little bit. I'm getting other voters. Perhaps, you know, I was doing very well with black voters, and I still am. I seem to be doing very well with black males. This is according to polls, as you know. It's possible that I won't do as well with black women, but I do seem to be doing very well with other segments, extremely well with Hispanic. Jewish voters way up. White males way up. White males have gone through.
Wow, yeah, we know you got that one locked, Donald. You know, I'll give you that. I think you got the white dude demographic locked.
The roof. White males way up. No, I don't know. All we're doing is giving you the stats that you have. It could be that I'll be affected somewhat with black females, where we're doing pretty well. And I think ultimately they'll like me better because I'm going to give them security, safety, and jobs. I'm going to give them a good economy. We have a very bad economy right now. We could literally be on the throes of a depression, not recession, a depression.
Do you have any evidence for that? Because we're not even in a recession right now. A recession is, I want to say is it 2 or 3 consecutive quarters of dropping of the market? I want to say it's 2. I could be wrong, though. And we have not had that. So no. Social Warlock, Trey, says, just as a reminder, this is why the right hates the courts. They can't stand needing to prove what they say. They hate accountability. They can't stand fact-checking.
And they can't
2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP, think.
have that. They can't have that. So I think I'm going to do well with everybody, especially when the facts are right. Yeah, please, in the back.
You're now leading the Jewish voters in your home state of New York. With that being said, what do you make of Kamala Harris not picking Josh Shapiro as her VP?
Well, I don't know. I know Josh Shapiro. He's a terrible guy, and he's not very popular with anybody. I think that this election maybe is better than Josh Shapiro would have been. But I think other than Josh Shapiro, I think she had some good choices. But Josh Shapiro is not one of them. He's caused a lot of damage with a lot of people. And I don't think he would have been better. I think he would have been maybe the equivalent, maybe not as good. But they had some people that they were looking at that were good, far superior to her. They actually had a story where they had everybody, including, they had like 10 people that she was looking at and her. And they said she was the worst of all. In other words, she was the worst out of the 10 people and her.
What is he even fucking talking about?
Only agrees to the ABC debate. Would you be willing just to do that one debate?
He's just so vague.
I don't know how that's going to work out. We'd like to do 3 debates. We think we should do 3 debates. We think Fox and ABC. And we also have CBS is going to do the vice presidential debate. So CBS will do vice presidential. And I have to tell you, J.D. Vance has really stepped up. He's doing a fantastic job. Say it.
Are you worried at all about the size of Harris's crowds?
Are you worried at all about the size of Harris's rallies, she asks, because Trump, of course, made it a big deal, and so did Trump supporters, to say Trump has such big rallies. And now Kamala's having quite large rallies, which I don't think rallies have a bearing on your vote, you know? I think it has something to do with enthusiasm, and that's good, but it certainly doesn't decide who wins.
Oh, give me a break.
You're the one that teed this up, Trump. You're the one that constantly talks about rally sizes, but then you're, taken aback when someone asks you about it? I feel like that really hurt his feelings, and that's why he said, give me a break. I think that one hit him. I think that one hit him right where it hurt. Is this narcissistic collapse? Oh.
Listen, I had 107,000 people in New Jersey. You didn't report it.
He did not. The biggest sports arenas in the world hold like 100,000 people. It's literally impossible that he had that many people at any rally anywhere.
I'm so...
Like, what's the capacity of the Nest? Hold on. Beijing National Stadium, the Bird's Nest. Capacity. Yeah, the biggest stadium in the world, I think, or one of the biggest, which is in Beijing. It was built for the Beijing Olympics. Seats 91,000 people, and he's claiming to have like 20,000 more people than that at his rally. He's just lying. Most basketball arenas are only like 20,000 seats. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, his lies are getting dumber.
Glad U.S. What did she have yesterday? 2,000 people? If I ever had 2,000 people, you'd say my campaign is finished. It's so dishonest, the press. And
it seems like when I've looked at his rallies, like, even the big ones, I'd put in like the 1,000 to 2,000 range. The biggest one, like the most people I've ever seen together for a Trump thing was his inauguration, and even that was small for an inauguration. So, like, he gets crowds, but not nearly as big as he claims. And again, I don't think it matters. It's just odd.
A great example.
Kamala campaign made a Truth Social account to rub the crowd in his face. Honestly, that's good. Oh. Yeah, I saw, yeah, because here was the post, they were at the same place Trump was, and you look at hers and it's all the way full, and the last time Trump was there, it was half empty. Again, I don't think it matters, except in that Trump cares, and it hurts him and his morale, and I think that's important.
I had, in Michigan recently, 25,000 people, and 25,000 people we just couldn't get them in. We had in...
There were 600 or 900 people. It was a single-digit denomination of 3, but it wasn't 3. So it was either 600 or 900 people couldn't get in. So it sounds like he was saying, well, there was 25,000 people in there and 25,000 more people. No, I believe it was 600 or something like that couldn't get in.
Harrisburg, 20...
Benekagami says, Vance has really stepped up because Trump's been in hiding. Vance is doing most of the events now. Also, MAGA's trying to cope with audience sizes by saying her events with the UAW is indicative of an audience Kamala gets without free entertainment. But that event was at UAW Hall. It wasn't a rally. Oh, that's funny.
25,000 people, and 20,000 people couldn't get in. We had...
Again, he's just lying.
So many...
Oh, by the way, there have been so many tinfoil things. We'll probably cover this next Tinfoil Tuesday. But QAnon and other Republicans are trying to investigate photos and videos of Harris's rallies in order to be like, this is photoshopped, this is green screen, this is CGI. There's no way she has this many people. Oh, Procagam, thanks for 12 months of membership on YouTube. Much appreciated.
Nobody ever mentions that.
Memberships on YouTube as well as subscriptions on Twitch are always helpful either for yourself or gifts. So thank you everyone who's helped support the channel.
When she gets 1,500 people, and I saw it yesterday on ABC, which they said, oh, the crowd was so big. I have 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the crowd size. And no, they never say the crowd was big. That's why I'm always saying turn around the cameras. I'm so glad you asked that. I think it's so...
We've seen top down, especially lately, like the one he got shot at. That one, we saw plenty of angles of that because it was a big news event. It wasn't that big for a Trump thing. He was getting bigger rallies back in 2016 and even 2020. He is not doing as well in that front. I don't bring it up because I don't think it matters. I don't think people going to your event mean they're going to vote for you or that directly translates, but he brings it up, so...
Terrible when you say, well, she has 1,500 people, 1,000 people, and they talk about, oh, the enthusiasm. Let me tell you, we have...
H. Baird says, I hope that in another month, unskewedpolls.com makes a comeback.
The enthusiasm. The Republican...
We have all the enthusiasm, okay? Democratic enthusiasm is a myth, like the female orgasm.
Party, and me as a candidate, but the Republican Party has the enthusiasm. Because people want to see crime stopped. They want to see a country that's respected. Think of it. If I were president, you wouldn't have Russia and Ukraine, where it never happened.
That's such an absurd claim. He literally has talked about cutting off all support to Ukraine by it would have never happened. What he means is I would have let Russia completely overtake Ukraine and in fact maybe helped them so it would just be over. He doesn't give a shit at all about the people involved. All he cares about is it not taking this long. He's in favor of the Russian side. Ugh.
Zero chance. You wouldn't have had October 7th of Israel. You wouldn't have...
That's a fucking out there claim. That's a ridiculous and frankly fucking offensive claim.
The horrible withdrawal. And I don't mean the withdrawal, because the withdrawal was fine. I was ready to withdraw from Afghanistan, and we were going to do it with dignity and strength.
You guys are the ones that fucking did it and met with members of Al-Qaeda.
And we were keeping our equipment. We weren't leaving $85 billion worth of equipment behind. And we wouldn't have had 13 great soldiers. I know the families of those soldiers well. We wouldn't have had
Name them.
Your soldiers killed, and we wouldn't have had 45 soldiers obliterated. No legs, no arms, the face. None of that would have happened.
No legs, no arms, no face. I want to take his face off.
And you wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had any inflation.
That's not how things work. The president doesn't dictate if there's inflation. The inflation has been global, and it's a repercussion of COVID. It's a repercussion of all of the things that happen due to COVID. It's not something an individual can stop. It's fucking macroeconomics, Don.
Because inflation was caused by their bad energy problems.
No, it wasn't.
Now they've gone back to the Trump thing because they need the votes. I don't know if you know, they're drilling now because they had to go back because gasoline was going up to $7, $8, $9 a barrel. So they said, we better do what Trump. But the day after
I assume he meant per gallon, because per barrel, that would be incredibly cheap.
the election, if they won, you're
He
going to
thinks EV policies are causing inflation. That makes no goddamn sense.
have fuel prices go through the roof. Everybody's going to be forced to buy an electric car, which they're not going to do because they don't want that. It's got a great market. It's got a market. It's really a sub-market. People want gasoline-propelled cars. They want hybrids. They want to have everything, and they want electric. But they want everybody to have an electric car. We don't have enough electricity. We couldn't make enough electricity.
If only we were investing in clean power generation. Oh, we are? Oh, okay, never mind then. I guess he's just dumb.
Electricity for that.
We don't have enough electricity, okay? Zeus is going to get very tired charging all of our cars on a daily basis. I don't think he has it in him.
And you know what else? The weight of a car, the weight of a truck. They want all trucks to be electric. Little things that a lot of people don't talk about. The weight of a truck is 2.5 times heavier. You would have to rebuild every bridge in this country if you were going to do this ridiculous policy. So, but on crowd size, in history, for any country, nobody's had crowds like I have, and you know that.
You circled back to the crowds thing.
And when she gets 1,000 people and everybody starts jumping, you know that if I had 1,000 people would say, that's the end of his campaign. I have hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, now it's not even just 100,000. It's hundreds of thousands. In the last 5 minutes, his crowd sizes have doubled. At minimum.
South Carolina, I had 88,000 people. In Alabama, I had 68,000 people. Nobody says about crowd size with me.
I had 73 billion people at my last rally. They came from all over the galaxy. Come and hear me. They've all heard about the Big Don, okay? The king of the deal, the art of the deal.
But she has 1,000 people or 1,500 people, and they say, oh, the enthusiasm's back. No. The enthusiasm is with me and the Republican Party.
You're all saying she has enthusiasm, and I say no, you're not enthusiastic. I'll get to determine that. I'm enthusiasm. Look at me. Look at my hands. I call them enthusi and asm. Put them together. Boom. Enthusiasm. You're welcome, America. Benigami says, I feel like I'm watching The Lion King and Lion King 2. We're all singing, not one of us at MAGA. Trump is some mix of a defeated Scar and Zira screaming, I'll never let go! And it's the hyenas who are the real enemies. It's their fault. It's their ideas. It's all just spite and dodging responsibility. And nature will only heal if we dethrone these people. Appreciate The Lion King not only one, but two references.
Because they want to stop crime. They want to stop people from pouring into our country from places unknown and from countries unknown, from countries that nobody ever heard of.
They're coming in from Atlantis. They're coming in from Lemuria. I heard some are coming from the planet Nibiru. Okay, have you heard of this planet Nibiru? Some call it Planet X. Okay. On Doctor Who, they called it Mundus. Basically, presumably, he looked at a map or someone talked about, like, Honduras or something. He was like, Honduras, what is that? Some kind of tapas dish? Like, I assume someone told him about a country he'd never heard. So he's like, ah, yes, no one has ever heard of this country because I have the biggest brain. If I don't know it, no one knows it. Oh.
That's where the enthusiasm. Yeah.
Get those two, you could seal the deal. That's what they say. How important is it to you, and is it salvageable for you to be able to repair the relationship with Governor Kemp?
I don't know. I don't know if I can or not. I got him elected. Without me, he wouldn't be governor. I got him elected. He was doing terribly. I got him elected. With that being said, I hope we can repair it. But if we don't, the people are still the people, and they're going to vote. We're leading in Georgia by a lot. We're leading in Pennsylvania by a
Did
lot.
the Georgia governor not endorse him or something? I couldn't hear the question, but it sounded like it was maybe about the Georgia governor. Something like that.
So, but I don't know. Now in Pennsylvania, I have great relationships. In Georgia, I do too. But
Okay, I gotta do this one too. Jaden says, they tell me, these illegals, they tell me about this mud flood. Destroyed their civilization. Bad people. So bad.
fortunately,
He's
not
feuding with Kemp. Oh, good. Infighting.
with the governor. I've never
Republicans in disarray. Republicans in disarray.
understood it. When you
Okay,
get
that doesn't flow very well, but you get the idea.
somebody elected, they're supposed to like you. He's not exactly, for some reason, and you'll have to ask him about that. Yeah, I'd love to see it get repaired. I think that if we don't win Georgia, Georgia is a big win, is a big state. So I won Alabama by a record. Nobody's ever gotten that many votes. I won South Carolina by a record. You don't win Alabama and South Carolina by records and lose Georgia. It doesn't happen.
It did happen, though. It did happen, though. So you're wrong. You're lying.
And the people of Georgia understand that. There was tremendous anxiety and problems in Georgia. A lot of people say, what happened? And we have to, all we want is honest elections. If we have honest elections
Fuck
in Georgia,
off,
we have
cunt.
honest elections in Pennsylvania, we're going to
He's
win them by a
such a
lot.
liar.
President Biden basically saying that he doesn't think, he fears that there wouldn't be a peaceful transfer of power if you lose this election.
Well, he actually said it two ways. First, he said it incorrectly, then he corrected himself. Do you agree with that, right? You know, if you watch him, he said it two ways. No. I mean, he said it two ways because he doesn't really know what he's saying. Why didn't he bring it up at the debate? You know, he had a chance for 90 minutes to bring it up at the debate. He could have talked about that at the debate.
They ask you questions at a debate, and you're supposed to say on topic. Fun fact, Trump, when people ask you questions, you're supposed to answer that question, not use it as an opportunity to ramble about whatever bullshit you want to talk about. Fun fact. Skefazoa says, I'm sure his feelings toward his daughter helped him clinch Alabama. Ooh! Yeah.
And he didn't do it. Everyone said, oh, he said this and he said that.
Mr. Joker Card with a $5 super chat says he's doing everything in his power to lose, but if he loses, what do you think happens to the MAGA movement? I think they're going to attach themselves to him still. First of all, we'd have to get through the post-election stuff, because he's going to try and sue, he's going to try and delegitimize the election, no matter what. But assuming we get through all that, I don't know, he'll probably be like a Fox News contributor and just bitch all the time. I think the MAGA people won't do as well without him. I think he is sort of a focal point for them, and once he is gone, either because he is old and dies, or because he just decides to fuck off somewhere, whatever, I think their sort of very together energy will disperse. Because DeSantis tried to hone some of that, and he utterly failed. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe someone will appear and start a new cult of personality with these people, but I think it'll be difficult. Iridona says Georgia has a place called, I don't know, Atlanta. The lost city of Atlanta.
He's just, you know, they give him something to read off. He read it very badly because he actually said it the opposite.
It's got to be worse than 2020, right? Not necessarily, because Trump, remember, Trump was in charge at that point. Trump was still the president. He won't be this time. So, I think if they tried another January 6th, it wouldn't go as well, and the first one didn't really go all that great for them.
Then he had to go back and correct himself. He said the opposite. He should have brought this up at the debate. If he had a problem, of course there'll be a peaceful transfer, and there was last time.
No, there wasn't, you fucking liar! You incited an attempted coup! What are you talking about? You're such a liar!
Transfer. I just hope we're going to have honest elections. That's all. Okay?
Can't believe anyone buys this asshole. Hbeard says, assuming Harris wins and whatever shenanigans they have planned fail, he'll announce for 2028. He's facing real prison time, and saying that they're only going after him because he's a candidate might help him keep some of his followers. That would be funny. Honestly, if he tanks Republicans in 2028, I'm here for it. If this old, decrepit crypt keeper Biff Tannen of a man decides to once again torpedo Republicans' chances on a national level, I'd be here for it. I would love that. Please. Please.
You have not had a public campaign event for nearly a week now in Arlington, Montana, which is not a swing state. Some of your allies have expressed concern that you're not taking this race seriously, particularly...
What a stupid question this is.
I didn't even hear what the question was. I gotta go back. What a stupid question. There's no such thing as stupid questions. Only stupid people who can't answer them.
That's all. Okay?
You have not had a public campaign event for nearly a week now in Arlington, Montana, which is not a swing state. Some of your
Okay, so she asked, you haven't had any public campaign events in about a week now?
allies have expressed concern that you're not taking this race seriously, particularly
What a stupid question this is.
enthusiasm on the other side. Why haven't you been campaigning?
Because I'm leading by a lot and because I'm letting their convention...
And famously, Trump hates doing rallies and never does them when he doesn't have to. He's doing them while he was the president. He's an attention whore. I know something about being an attention whore. Do you see my fucking outfit?
go through, and I am campaigning a lot. I'm doing tremendous amounts of taping here. We have commercials that are at a level I don't think that anybody's ever done before.
What does that even mean? We have commercials at a level that no one's ever done before.
Plus, in certain cases, I see many of you in the room where I'm speaking to you on phones, I'm speaking to radio, I'm speaking to television. Television's coming over here. Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news
You were
conference.
asked about rallies.
She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough.
I'm sorry, you think that the vice president doesn't know how to do a news conference and you're also calling her not smart enough? Jesus Christ. Hbeard says, I almost wonder if this might be having stress reactions from the assassination attempt that make it hard for him to go to rallies. It wouldn't surprise me. Like, I don't like Donald Trump as a person. I think he's utterly terrible and has been nothing but destructive to everyone around him his entire life. But he is a human being, and even narcissists have fucking feelings. So I would imagine he isn't admitting to himself that he has some sort of stress-related issue, but I wouldn't blame him if he did. Like, he did get shot at. Regardless of what you think about the ear thing and whether it was a bullet or it was shards of glass, someone was shooting at him, and someone did die because he was, like, someone was trying to shoot him. So that is a thing that happened. And that's gotta fuck you up, right? How do you not have PTSD from that? How do you not get afraid to get in front of a big crowd again? I don't know. Interesting. Penekagami says, plus he's been hemorrhaging support. Some people left the cult, others have died, either from age or COVID. Things are going to be rough, but their coordination is falling apart. It's more going to be malicious and stochastic terrorism. Yeah, probably. When Trump's daughter-in-law got in charge of the RNC, which if you missed that happened, which is very funny. So Trump's family is basically in charge of the pockets, the coffers of the RNC right now. They fired a lot of their strategists who had been strategists for years, if not decades, to put in Trump sycophants. So I'm thinking some of that's biting them in the butt. I think some of that vaccine, long knives shit might be not working out so well for him. It's almost like political purges aren't an effective strategy.
Enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before.
Are you gonna step down?
Both
or what?
Economically and from an outside perspective. Russia doesn't respect us anymore. China doesn't respect
I don't respect Russia. Russia's a fucking dictatorship. Who cares what they think? They don't need to respect you. They just need to understand that you're not going to let them do bullshit like they're doing in Ukraine. He's so badly. Just please, Putin, respect me. Donald Trump's just jealous he doesn't get to throw people out of windows.
Anymore. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, liked me a lot. He doesn't like this group.
Yes, I'll vote how I think Kim Jong-un would vote. The dictator of North Korea. I'm very concerned about who he wants to be the United States president.
We are in great danger. We're in great danger of being in World War III. That could happen. No, after their convention, yeah. And I'm going out, actually, I'm going out to certain places to help certain senators get elected. Not even for me. I'm trying to help when I go out to Wyoming or when I go out to Montana, or I'm going to different places to help people. And I don't have to go there because I'm leading those states, as you know, by 35, 40, 50 points.
It's Montana. I would hope a Republican's winning.
I'm leading by record.
I mean, not hope, but expect.
Numbers. I'm going because I want to help senators and congressmen get elected. Congressmen and women get elected. Yes, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Lance says, we need very smart people to run this country. So where's that resignation letter, Mango Mussolini?
The upcoming what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Elon Musk. So, yeah, sure. So Elon called me. As you know, he endorsed me full-throated. Great endorsement. I respect Elon a lot. He respects me.
Clearly.
And not easy for him to endorse, to be honest with you. You know, it takes courage to endorse people. Many people have.
I don't think it takes courage to do much of anything when you're one of the richest people in the world. Nothing has consequences, so.
Courage, and many people don't. He does have courage. And Elon endorsed me, and he asked me whether or not I'd do a show on Monday, and I think it's going to be Monday night. And I believe he's the host of the show, so it'll be very interesting. A lot of people.
We're going to cover that, and it's going to be just the worst, I'm sure. Elon Musk and Trump talking to each other for an indeterminate amount of time sounds like my hell.
Talking about, I look forward to it. That'll be done on Monday night.
Hell is very specifically those two other people. Elon gave me full-throated, deep-throated support. Really spectacular. Smart guy. Smart throat.
Well, you have a lot of misinformation spread about China, and you have a lot of misinformation spread about a lot of different places. I think I'm going to get along great with China. President Xi of China and I were very good friends. We met right here, right in that.
I always find this so weird. Trump is constantly bad-mouthing people for having perceived connections to China, but then he'll talk about what great relationships he has with China? Does he know he does this?
Except we had a beautiful sofa there, as opposed to what we have right now. Right now we
A beautiful sofa. J.D. Vance knows all about it. That's how I got him on board.
have you. But President Xi and I had a very good relationship until COVID. And I held him responsible for COVID. It broke up our relationship. But I think we're going to
What a fucking moron.
have a great relationship. And I think it's going to be mutually beneficial. But we cannot have it where China is taking advantage of the United States. And that's what they were doing, as you very well know. Yes, please.
We're not even halfway through this, by the way.
What's your question? No, I think the people that, if you look at January 6th, which a lot of people aren't talking about very much, I think those people were treated very harshly. when you compare them to other things that took place in this country where a lot of people were killed. Nobody was killed on January 6th.
Wrong.
But I think that the people of January 6th were treated very unfairly. And they were there to complain, not through me. They were there to complain about an election.
Not through me.
And, you know, it's very interesting. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and I said peacefully and patriotically, which nobody wants to say.
I said it. I said peacefully and patriotically. That's a legal defense right there. My lawyers taught it to me. They're no longer lawyers, thanks to this rigged lawfare system. Okay? All right? Very legal. Very cool.
But I said peacefully and patriotically. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and you've seen, Maggie, I was at the mall. I was at the Washington Monument. I was at the whole thing. I had crowds. I don't know who's ever had a bigger crowd than I have, but I had it many times. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was that day. And I'll tell you, it's very hard to find a picture of that crowd. You see the picture of a small number of people relatively going to the Capitol, but you never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken.
He's using this to boast about crowd sizes again on January 6th.
To the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more.
That's untrue.
And they said he had 1 million people.
That's untrue and offensive, obviously, but we'll stick on that's untrue.
But I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000, and he had 1 million people, and I'm okay with it because I liked Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah.
If Martin Luther King Jr. was still alive, Trump and other right-wingers would be calling him a race hustler like they do with, like, civil rights leaders that are still alive today. So I really hate when they try and act like they like MLK. They really don't. They just know it's socially unacceptable to say they don't.
Please. Yeah, sure. We have a Constitution. It's a very important document, and we live by it. She has no votes. And
name the amendments. Trump, name the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. Name the Bill of Rights right now. Do it.
I'm very happy to run it.
I would love to see the results of Donald Trump taking a basic civics test. I feel like he would do bigly bad
against her. I'm not complaining from that standpoint. And I hate to be defending him, but he did not want to leave. He wanted to see if he could win. They said, you're not going to win. After the debate, they said, you're not going to win. You can't win. You're out. And at first they said it nicely, and he wasn't leaving. And then you know it better than anybody. Wait a minute. So
is Trump just genuinely incapable of understanding someone being convinced that they are wrong and stepping down from a position of power? Because I think part of it is that Trump, he's tweeted, too, weird things about, like, is Joe going to show up at the DNC and try and demand his position as the candidate back? I don't think he understands that someone can recognize that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of themselves or their wants. He's incapable of it, so he just assumes that Joe is bitter about it.
When you think about it, they said at first they were going to go out to another vote. They were going to go through a primary system, a quick primary system, which it would have to be. And then it all disappeared, and they just picked a person that was the
vice president.
First out. She was the first loser, okay? So
he's been the vice president for 4 years, sir.
We call her the first loser. She was the first loser.
I call her the first loser, and this makes me sound very cool and not like a douchebag.
When
Lance says, new Republican Party primary requirement, pass a naturalization test.
During the primary system, during the Democrat primary system, she was the first one to quit, and she quit. She had no votes, no support, and she was a bad debater, by the way, very bad debater. And that's not the thing I'm
sure you're going to do great then, Donald. Can't wait for the debate.
Forward to, but she was a bad debater. She did obviously a bad job. She never made it to Iowa. Then for some reason, and I know he regrets it, you do too,
he'll just describe he'll be like, I know how other people think, and it's exactly like me.
picked her.
Whereas Trump is a master debater.
And she turned on him too. She was working with the people that wanted him out. But the fact that you can get no votes, lose in the primary system, in other words, you had 14
He was the vice president, Donald. He was the vice president.
15 people. She was the first one out. And that you can then be picked to run for president, it seems to me actually unconstitutional. Perhaps
it's not. The DNC and RNC are actually private organizations that can pick their candidates however they want. Fun fact. But she was the most logical choice, and polls show that Democrats generally agree with that. I think 8 in 10 now, as of recent polls, are happy with her, which is about as best as you can hope.
it's not. Please. So I've run against Hillary, and I've run against various other people. I would say that in terms of intelligence, Hillary was far superior. I would say that. Hillary was smart. She was her own worst enemy in many ways, but she was smart, very smart. Okay? If you ask me to
I think Trump needs to Pokemon Go to an old folks' home.
compare them, please. Would you repeat that question, please? Do you have to speak up? Yes, sir. It's a hard room because it's very big, if you know. So this is worth $18 million. Oh, I see.
Such a douchebag. How does anyone stand this man? $18 million. I'm very rich. My daddy gave me my money. Shouldn't you all be very proud of me? My daddy was proud of me. Why aren't all of you proud of me? Please be proud of me, daddy, please. Can feel it. Feel his daddy issues under the surface. Tea with Goblin says, off topic, but it looks like Imam Khalif, the Algerian boxer who was targeted by TERFs and transvestigators, has won gold in Paris. I don't care about the Olympics, but this is gratifying. Good for her. The tinfoil saltiness will be delicious for a bit. Oh yeah, they're gonna act like she's trans despite not being trans. Well, that'll be interesting. Trump's hearing might be fading. It wouldn't surprise me, and I guarantee he's the kind of person that would refuse a hearing aid, even though, especially these days, if you have the money, they make them very small, very comfortable. I just imagine he's the kind of person that wouldn't, because he would be in denial about his body failing him. So.
Yeah. So I think the abortion issue is written very much...
Oh, this one pisses me off. I saw clips from this part.
Tempered down. And I've answered, I think, very well in the debate, and it seems to be much less of an issue, especially for those where they have the exceptions, as you know. And I think it's when I look for 52 years, they wanted to bring abortion back to the states. They wanted to get rid of Roe v. Wade, and that's Democrats, Republicans, and...
I don't know why he ever says this. I have never seen a single Democrat in my entire life say they wanted Roe v. Wade to go away. Just a weird lie. Jitara says, what a great day to wear the sacred vestments, High Priestess Hannah. Paul smiles brightly upon this watching of the Chuds.
Independents and everybody liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back in the states. And
No, they didn't. He's just lying.
I did that. Now the states are voting. And frankly, some of the votes are much more, if you could say, liberal than you would think. Ohio turned out to be, they had a big vote, and it turned out to be a much more liberal standing than people would have thought.
Most states haven't had votes over this, so now practically in the entire southern United States, it's impossible to get an abortion, and they don't get an election to decide. So all you did was take away the rights of millions of people, you fucking asshole.
Same
fuck-ass shit Supreme Court
thing, and then you have Texas, and you have other places where it may be different. But the issue has been brought back to the states now, and like Ronald Reagan.
And now states are trying to sue other states and make it illegal for people to go to other states for abortions. Yeah, it's definitely back at the states. Fucking liars.
Believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life.
Also, Project 2025 wants to nationally outlaw abortions.
The mother. I believe, I believe strongly. I think that that's a very important thing. I think when you have to follow your heart. But when you don't believe in the exceptions, I think it's much tougher. It's a much tougher issue.
I think you need to follow your heart, except I'm going to take away your right to do what you think is right. I'm going to have you do whatever your state says is right. We used to have it so individuals could make that choice for themselves. But apparently that's bad because Donald Trump gets donations from people who think it's bad, despite I guarantee Donald Trump paying for many abortions in his life.
About 82%.
He should have been one.
Of Republicans do believe in exceptions. I think and a lot of them are changing their mind and coming even further. I think that abortion has become much less of an issue. It's a very small, I think it's actually going to be a very small issue. What I've done is I've done what every Democrat and every Republican wanted to have done, and we brought that issue back to the states. And now the states are voting on it. And frankly, some of the votes are a lot different than people would have thought. But it's the vote of the people is taking care of it. And, when you think about the radical, the Democrats are really the radical ones on this because they're allowed to do abortion on the 8th and 9th month. And
on the 8th and 9th month, it only happens for the life of the parent. Fun fact. And he's going to do the post-birth abortion lie, even though he's been called out on it many times. I remember calling my dad out on this lie when I was a kid, because this was a lie that Republicans were telling even then. It's not a thing.
Even after birth, if you look at your new governor from Minnesota, he's like the governor previous, the former governor. I don't want to get him mixed up because Glenn is doing a good job and
There's no such thing as a post-birth abortion. That's called murder. An abortion is the cessation of a pregnancy. You can't have a post-birth abortion. Not a thing.
He's leading our whole campaign in Virginia, Glenn Youngkin. But previous to Glenn, the governor, he said the baby will be born. We will put the baby aside and we will decide with the mother what we're going to do. In other words, whether or not we're going to kill the baby.
Sounds like talking, I don't know what weird quote he's coming from. Kind of sounds like they're talking about abortion, or not abortion, adoption. Because you can't murder a baby. That's illegal. It's illegal to murder living, born people? Fun fact.
The Minnesota gentleman, this guy...
Oh, yeah, he's not doing good.
Agrees with that.
He slept through an audiobook of The Giver. That's if they're twins.
The most liberal... Look, between her and him, there's never been anything like this. There's never been a combination so...
it was about a baby with a terminal condition. Gotcha. Gitara says they've been spreading this misconception that a bunch of Dems are standing around in a circle with huge grins on their faces as they watch a fetus getting aborted. I don't know anyone who's had one who was giddy and excited about having to go through one of the most traumatic medical procedures a person can go through. Yeah, I don't understand their conception of just about anything.
The word progressive, they want to go progressive. They don't like the word liberal. I like liberal better. I think it's more appropriate because nobody knows what progressive means. But they now like to use the word progressive. But there's certainly never been anybody so liberal.
No one knows what the word progressive means?
Like these two, or even close. I think the abortion issue has been taken down many notches. I don't think it's a big factor anymore, really. And
I can't tell if he's rhetorically trying to hide this or if he genuinely has self-deluded himself into believing that.
when people hear what I said in the debate, and I think I said it very well during the debate, we've brought it back to the states. Everybody wanted it in the states.
No.
And very importantly, and you think about this, assuming you have exceptions. If you don't have exceptions, it's a more difficult thing. At the same time, there are people that strongly feel that way, and you have to follow your heart, and you should follow your heart. But that issue is very much subdued. Yeah, thank you. About who?
About the assassination attempt.
Yes.
Did the fact that somebody used an AR-15 gun at all change your impression of people's access to that weapon?
No, I didn't. Look, if you take away guns, she wants to take away everyone's gun. If you take away guns, can't do it because people need.
Her vice president literally hunts, does not want to take away guns. What are you talking about? I have to use the bathroom. So I'll be right back. While I'm gone, Chair will tell you about UFO abduction, a true story. And I'm definitely going to the bathroom to pee, and not because one of my pasties has slipped off my sweaty tit. I'll be right back. Oh, okay, I'm good. Amber Pretzel says, just when you think you can't... Oh, wait, where did that go? Sorry, my thing jumped. Just when you think you can't dig deeper, he breaks out the laser drill, and he keeps on digging.
The guns for protection. Now, entertainment they wanted, hunting they would, different things. But they need weapons for protection in this country. People live out in the woods and they're not going to have a gun. If you look at some countries, I don't want to get them in trouble, but some countries have actually gone the opposite way. They had very strong gun laws, and now they have gone the opposite way, where they allowed people to have guns, where in one case they encouraged people to go out and get guns, and crime is down 29%. And remember this, what is the toughest gun law in the United States? Chicago. On July 4th, 117 people were shot and 17 died. The toughest gun laws in the United States.
That's honestly, considering the population of Chicago, that's not bad.
City of Chicago, you know that. They had 117 people shot. Afghanistan does not have that.
Afghanistan's in control of Al-Qaeda. What?
Afghanistan, by the way, was the lowest point in the history of our country, in my opinion. That was the worst
Oh boy.
embarrassment to the
He doesn't know a lot of American history, does he?
history of this country, and I say Putin would not have gone into Ukraine if that didn't happen. When he
What?
saw the incompetence of Milley and all these guys that are incompetent, when he saw that happen, when they took out the soldiers first, they took out the soldiers first. You know, if you go back and check your records, for 18 months, I had a talk with Abdul. Abdul was the leader of the Taliban, still is. But I had a strong talk with him. For 18 months, not one American
I'm sorry, the Taliban, not Al-Qaeda. Sorry.
soldier
Misspoke.
was shot at or killed, but not even shot at. 18 months, and then we had the disaster of the lift, where people were falling off airplanes from 3 times the height of the World Trade Center. I mean, terrible. But now our country has to be respected again. Please. Go ahead, please.
Giradona says he's on repeat. He's made the Afghanistan argument earlier. Yeah, he just has talking points he hits and he forgets he already hit him during this speech. We're only like halfway through this.
I'd be against that.
I didn't
That
hear.
Kamala is in favor of not giving Israel weapons? Yeah. That's what I hear. Look, she's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad to Jewish people. And I say it, if anybody I know is Jewish and they would vote for Kamala over me, they should have their head examined. If you think about it, I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the capital of Israel, Jerusalem. I
Fucking yikes.
I even built the embassy. I gave
Oh my god. He's just...
them no Iran deal. The problem is they didn't do anything with it. Iran was broke. We could have made a deal so easily. I would have had a deal done within 1 week after the election with Iran. Iran can't have a nuclear...
I like how he always says, like, if you just gave me an opportunity, I'd fix everything. You were president for 4 years and things just got worse and you mishandled COVID so bad, millions of people fucking died. What are you talking about?
weapon. It's very...
Lance with 50 bits says, hi there, Indiana resident. Did you know one can drive less than an hour from the highest crime neighborhoods in Chicago into Indiana to buy a gun more easily? Sure, bringing it over the border is illegal, but it's not like there's gun-free force field down State Line Road or crossing the highway into Illinois.
simple. We would have gotten along with Iran. I was looking forward to it. I was fine with Iran. You know, we hit them a couple of times pretty hard. But we
I was fine with Iran. Yeah, we fucking drone struck them, but you know, it was pretty good. Pretty good.
would have been fine with Iran. But I terminated that deal. I got them the Abraham Accords. Everyone said that's impossible. I got them the Abraham Accords. She's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad and disrespectful to Jewish people. And any Jewish
go fuck yourself.
person that votes for Kamala and her friend, her new friend, who I don't know if she knew him before, but I don't think he's too good. But anybody that votes for them,
Benikagami says, again, MAGA have the minds of children. They basically think, if me and my friends have guns, we can stop the bad guys. They completely ignore the fact that a criminal would likely always be better armed than them, because, you know, they would just steal the guns. If you make it easier for law-abiding citizens to get guns, you make it even easier for criminals.
if you're Jewish or if you love Israel, you have to have your head examined. Go
Yikes.
ahead, please. They have. The FBI came to see me about the shooter. I think they've done a very good job. And I think they did a very good job with respect to this other lunatic that they have in custody. Please.
There's been some discussion around Vice President Harris's relationship with Willie Brown,
Yeah.
former mayor of San Francisco,
No, he didn't lie about the helicopter yet.
her career trajectory. So I'm just wondering if you followed that discussion at all and had any thoughts.
Well, I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the
there it is.
end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and there was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing, and Willie was he was a little concerned. So I know him pretty well. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but he told me terrible things about her. But this is what you're telling me anyway, I guess. But he had a big part in what happened with Kamala. But he I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he was not a fan of hers very much at that point.
Do you believe Vice President Harris would certify your election victory if you win?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead. On what?
Mr. Hill denies the whole thing and there's no record of such an event. Donald Trump lying? Oh, that never happens.
Well, I'm going to announce that. I'm going to actually have a press conference on that at some point
You
in
meant Jerry Brown? That's funny.
the near future, so I don't want to tell you now. But Florida does have a vote coming up on that, and I think probably the vote will go in a little more liberal way than people thought. But I'll be announcing that at the appropriate time. Please.
Mr. President, your tax cuts from your administration will be coming up, fairly soon and potentially expiring. I wanted to ask you specifically about the tax code favoring parents versus people who don't have children. There are a number of tax breaks.
Yeah. Oh, we gave tremendous for child care and all of that. No, our tax cuts, which are the biggest in history, our tax cuts are coming due, as you know, very soon. And if the Democrats don't renew them or make it impossible to renew because it's pretty close in terms of vote, if they don't renew them, it's the equivalent of having a 4 times tax increase from what you have right now, and it'll destroy
Again, that's such a lie. To the average person, absolutely not.
the economy. I think they're under tremendous pressure to do it. I've never seen, all my life I grow up and I watch politics, and I used to be on the other side of politics first, and then I run for office. But in all the years of studying politics, I've never seen people get elected by saying, we're going to give you a tax increase. These guys get up, think of it. We're going to give you no security. We're going to give you a weak military. We're going to give you no walls, no borders, no anything. All these things they're doing. I mean, transgender. The transgender became such a big thing, but they do all of these things.
Has he listened to a single speech from a Democrat ever? Benigami says, Kamala's real disrespectful to Jews. That's why known anti-Semites like Ye West, Nick Fuentes support her, and literal swastikas can be found at her pro-Kamala events. Oh wait, all of that was true about Trump. The opposite for Kamala. My mistake.
But they always say, we're going to give you a tax increase. I never heard anybody campaign on a tax increase.
For the wealthy people can get fucked because they're not paying their fair share.
A politician has always said, I will cut taxes. I'll give you.
And look how that's turned out. Not so great.
One example, Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security.
They're going to destroy Social Security by helping fund it.
I am going to leave Social Security. I'm not raising the years. I'm not raising the age. I will be
Trap the cat, bitch.
saving Social Security, and I'm going to work it out that there's no tax on Social Security for seniors. I'm also doing no tax on tips. No tax on tips. So waiters, waitresses, caddies, people
That
that
seems incredibly impractical.
drive cars, people that get tips who have been harassed by this government, we're going to have no tax on tips. That's a big thing.
You're not being harassed for paying your taxes. What the fuck? Republicans love to run up the deficit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sure. Because other people have done far bigger things than Steve Bannon. Sure. It's politically motivated. I think it's a horrible thing they did. Look.
People have done worse things, and you can only put people in jail for the worst thing ever done. Obviously.
They've weaponized government against me. Look at the Florida case. It was a totally weaponized case. All of these cases, by the way, the New York cases are totally controlled out of the Department of Justice. They sent their top person to the various places. They went to the AG's office, got that one going. Then he went to the DA's office, got that one going, ran through it. No, this is all politics, and it's a disgrace.
I'm eating popcorn. It's dill pickle flavored popcorn, yes.
Never happened in this country. It's very common that it happens, but not in our country. It happens in banana republics and third world countries, and that's what we're becoming. We have no borders. We have bad voting regulations. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have problems.
No evidence of that. He tried to go to court 60 times, lost every time. Just saying stuff, just talking shit.
France learned that lesson. France had all mail-in voting, and they went back to paper ballots voter identification, voter ID. They went back.
Is literally any of that true? Again, he just lies constantly, so kind of hard to listen to anything he says and assume it's true.
Back to a normal system, one-day voting. They don't want to be around, voting for 64 days. And look,
64 days.
The election, I keep talking about November 5th, but the election really starts on September 6th. That's when it starts because it's early voting. We should have one-day voting. We should have paper ballots. We should
They want the fewest people to vote possible.
have voter ID, and we should have proof of citizenship. Please. No, the gentleman in back. For who? You're going to have to talk louder, sir.
Do you support continuation of tax credits for EVs? And secondly, what sort of political or policy advice does Elon Musk give you?
Elon is a very different kind of a guy. He's a very big believer in the country, but he's very worried about the country. He's very worried about the country. And I don't know if it's good for him politically to have supported me, although I think we have a vast majority of this country does support me.
You've never won the popular vote.
But Elon, more than almost anybody I know, I mean, he loves this country. He loves the concept of the country. But like me, he says this country is in big trouble. It's in tremendous danger.
Now, if I trust anyone to have an accurate view of the country, it's people who've never had a real problem in their lives because they're literal millionaires and billionaires.
Okay, please.
Polls suggest overwhelmingly that Americans trust you more than Kamala Harris to fix the U.S. economy.
I like this guy. I like him.
What message do you have to Americans, sir, who are struggling to pay for everyday
Yeah.
Lance says, who set this shit up not to mic the reporters? Is the sound equipment hidden in the bathroom with classified document boxes? I imagined it was intentional. I imagine that was intentional so the reporters couldn't say anything clever and be heard.
The polls have suggested. There are some polls that say we're going to win in a landslide. People are voting with their stomachs, meaning they're going to the grocery store. They're paying 50, 60, 70% more for food than they did just a couple of years ago. Look at what's happened to energy. Look at what's happened.
Chitara says there's a few more videos out now with a bunch of cishet white guys going, you shouldn't let your politics dictate your dating pool, likely because based on the last election, most women don't want to date a chud who thinks she doesn't deserve rights. And sure, voting for Trump doesn't necessarily automatically make someone a misogynist. I'm going to disagree on that one. But it does show that the misogyny of his party wasn't a deal breaker for them. Yeah. Your politics are your beliefs. Your politics are your ethics. Your politics are your fundamental view of the world. It's not something you could ignore when dating. If you're repugnant to partners, maybe consider why. Jimmy Tea Time, thanks for 11 months, says, when the accordion hands come out, you know lies are a-flying.
Happened not only to their cars, where gasoline's gone from $1.87, $1.87, and we had moments when it was below that, but it's gone from $1.87 to $5, $6, and $7. And
do you know that the price decrease in gasoline was because of the COVID pandemic? Because I knew that. Why does the former president pretend to not know that?
they take the strategic national reserves and they take it out, even though it's peanuts compared, it doesn't last long. But they're virtually empty now. We've never had it this low. And he's using that to keep the gasoline prices as low as possible. He's sucked all of the oil out, essentially the gasoline, to keep the price down a little bit, and it's had very little impact. But you know what? We have no strategic national reserves now.
You just said it was very little and has no impact, so why do you care?
He's emptied it. It's almost empty. It's never been this low. And I had it at a good level, and I would have had it more if the Democrats would have approved the deal. You know, I had a deal to buy it at $22 a barrel, and now it's going to be close to 100 pretty soon, my opinion.
Sorry, Fenekagami. Fenekagami said, yet another example of how Republicans fuck over soldiers despite being pro-military. Mail-in voting has been a thing for the military since at least World War II. It's how draftees voted. Mail-in ballots are the only way people overseas can vote. Yeah, there are entire states that do mail-in voting. Like, it's fine. We have never found any sort of systemic issue with mail-in voting that's ever affected an election. It's fine.
Opinion. And the Democrats didn't want to do that, but we bought a lot anyway. And we had it pretty good. And what they
Amber says, as many of you may know, I have an associate's degree in history and I'm trying to get my bachelor's now. Aside from being a disabled person in the healthcare system, nothing has reinforced my disdain for capitalism more. My tuition is $14,000, my room and board $12,000. Both yearly, it wasn't always like this. The government used to subsidize colleges to keep tuition low. As that spending was cut, the college passed the cost to the students. I want to learn. This is going to make me cry. Yeah, the system's fucked.
they've done to the national reserves, the strategic national reserves, is, as you know very well, because you cover it, but what they've done is incredible. They've just, for the sake of getting some votes, for the sake of having gasoline, you know, that's meant for wars. It's meant for, like, tragedy. It's not meant to keep a gasoline price down so that somebody can vote for Biden, or in this case, Kamala, who, by the way, is worse than Biden. And she's actually not as smart. Okay? She's actually not as smart. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
He's seriously, like, he's at this point, he's like, she's a dum-dum. She's very dumb. That's your response?
Yeah, please. Okay.
There are other things the federal government could do, not just a ban. Would you direct your FDA, for example, to revoke access to mifepristone? That's one of the things.
Sure, you could do things that would supplement, absolutely. And those things are pretty open and humane. But you have to be able to have a vote. And all I want to do is give everybody a vote. And the votes are taking place right now as we speak.
Unless you vote by mail, then you don't get a vote. I don't want you to vote. I don't want you to vote if you can't vote on election day. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, but it's there are many things on a humane basis that you can do outside of that, but you also have to give a vote, and the people are going to have to decide. Okay, yes, please. You. On what? No, I think she's actually not as smart as he is. I don't think he's very smart either, by the way. I'm not a big fan of his brain, but I think that she's actually not as smart as he is.
What do you attribute her rising in the polls as becoming a more competitive race since she's taken over?
Well, she's a woman. She represents certain groups of people, but I will say this.
Which groups, Trump? What are you talking about?
People find out about her, I think she'll be much less. And I see it right now. I see her going way down in the polls now. Now that people are finding out that she destroyed San Francisco, she destroyed
Famously, does everyone remember the lost city of San Francisco?
the state of California along with Governor Gavin Newsom.
Fucking got him.
He's been a
Just calling people names. How are people not sick of this shit? It's so pathetic.
terrible governor, terrible. But they did it together. And she was early. I mean, she was the first of the prosecutors, really. You know, now you see Philadelphia, you see Los Angeles, you see New York, you see various people that are very bad. But she was the first of the bad prosecutors. She was early.
He was the first bad prosecutor in history.
Who? Would you repeat that, please? No, you. Would you repeat her, what she said? You have to speak up. This room is very
Oh man, maybe you should have mic'd the audience.
louder. Do you hear her? A daily press briefing? Why would I do that? I would give you all the press briefings you want. Look what I'm doing here. But why would I do a daily press? You'd get tired of me very fast. No, but I will give you
Didn't Obama do that for a while?
total access, and you'll have a lot of press briefings, and you'll have from me. Now, are you talking about from me or from a press secretary? Well, yeah, probably they'll do something. If it's not daily, it's going to be a lot. You'll have more than you want. Yeah, please.
President Biden vowed not to pardon his son Hunter, who is now a convicted felon and facing more felony charges in his upcoming trial for alleged tax evasion. Would you consider granting clemency or a pardon?
I don't think it's appropriate for me to talk about it. I think it's a tragic story. You want to know the truth. And I felt that with Hillary Clinton, too. You know, with Hillary Clinton, I could have done things to her that would have made your head spin. I thought it was a very bad thing. Take the wife of a president of the United States and put her in jail. And then I see the way they treat me.
You literally did a whole lock her up thing, and at a thing... Sorry, hair in my mouth. At one of the debates, you said if you were president, she'd be in jail. You said that to her face. What? Is he pretending now that he didn't do the whole lock her up shit? Does he think he can just, like, neuralize people like Men in Black and make them forget everything about him from the last however many years? Ben Kagami says, hey, Trump, did you know that a part of the reason the pandemic was so bad was because there was supposed to be a strategic national reserve for things like food and toilet paper? The reserve was supposed to be so massive that they could supply the whole country for like a month. This is part why there are cheese caves, thanks to Republicans like Trump, especially him. The reserves were cut for budget reasons to a week worth before the pandemic. Now the federal government is rebuilding it. Yeah, there was also a pandemic preparedness team that the Obama administration put together, and Trump took apart before the pandemic. Genius! He also started the investigation against Hunter Biden in 2018. He did! Good time. Good use of your time, Donald, since you're not even facing a Biden anymore. Not that it ever mattered, because Hunter wasn't running.
That's the way it goes. But I was very protective of her. Nobody would understand that, but I was. I think my people understand it. They used to say, lock her up, and I'd say, just relax, please.
How do you even deal with a lie like that? How do you even deal with an adult, like, almost 80-year-old man lying that blatantly to your face? Like, if this was your grandpa, you'd be like, all right, grandpa, maybe time to sit down and watch some golf. Like, it's on camera.
We won the...
Hold on.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Anyone? Anyone? Moira Soma, thanks for gifting a sub.
The forgotten men of this new out. Unbelievable. Horrible. Horrible. Who would have thought that a word was going to play so badly? That's the
liar.
The election. I think it would be very. I think it would have been horrible for our country if we had her between the hammering of all of the files. And don't forget, she got a subpoena from the United States Congress, and then after getting the subpoena, she destroyed everything that she was supposed to get. I didn't think.
Yeah, he's declined a lot.
I thought it was so bad to take her and put her in jail.
He's such a bad liar.
The wife of a president of the United States. And then when it's my turn, nobody thinks that way.
When it's my turn.
I thought it was a very terrible thing. And she did a lot of very bad things. I'll tell you what, she was pretty evil. But in terms of the country and in terms of unifying the country, bringing it back, to have taken her and to have put her in jail, and I think you know the things as well as I do. There were some pretty bad acts that she did. I think it would have been very bad for our country. And a lot of my people, a lot of the MAGA, as they call them, but the base. And I think the base is 75% of the country, far beyond the Republican Party.
He thinks he's never received even close to that percentage of the vote.
Because we're a party of common sense, and I'm a person of common sense. I want to have low taxes. I want to have strong borders. I want to have a strong military so that China and Russia, look, they've allowed China and Russia to do the impossible combined. They're natural enemies. They always have been, because China needs more land and Russia has it.
What are you talking about? What? China and Russia have been like allies since the Soviet era? What are you talking about?
They've always been natural enemies, and
no,
because of
also China has so much land. Do you know how big China is?
Obama, it started with him, and then Biden, because he didn't know what the hell he was doing, they've now become one force, and then now they're adding Iran to it, and they're adding North Korea to it. Pretty powerful force. This is something that is unthinkable that they allowed to happen. Oh, it's going to end. The honeymoon period's going to end. Look, she's got a little period. She's got a convention coming up. It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent because I've watched her. She destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Everything she's...
Again, he just says stuff as if it's true. Phyllis Filler says China and Russia's beef over border turf every decade or two. They're not as allied as he thinks. I mean, sure, but they still broadly work together because their interests are aligned in most cases because they both find themselves on the opposite end of the geopolitical aisle from the United States and other NATO countries. Benekagami says, I wonder how Trump supporters feel watching Trump walk back so many of his positions. This has got to be devastating to their view of him as strong. No wonder they're flailing, their leaders abandoning them right in front of them, and they're too into the cult to bail. I imagine a lot of them haven't seen this. Like, I can't imagine Fox News is playing clips from this that are, like, make him look bad to them.
He's touched.
He did donate to Kamala before he was the president.
Has turned to bad things. I'm not going to use foul language, but everything she's touched has turned bad. She's incompetent. The reason she's not doing what I do, and she's not doing what she should be doing, she won't even do interviews with friendly people because she can't do better than Biden. Now, he had a reason.
She's already doing better than Biden.
For not doing well. And he was never, 25 years ago, the sharpest or brightest bulb in the ceiling. That I can tell you, okay?
Biden still would have been old 27 years ago.
He wasn't. But he could do interviews at least. Not lately, he couldn't, perhaps. But she should be doing interviews. She doesn't want to do interviews. And the reason she doesn't is, number one, her policies are so bad. Just to answer...
Chitara with 50 bits says, I mean, Trump is a coward was trending on Truth Social last week, and comment sections under Fox News videos about him have the opinion of, yeah, Don, you're all talk, where's the policy? From people who claim to have been Trump supporters during his first term. We'll see. Phyllis Filler says, this just in, the state of Florida has been renamed to denial in honor of this presser.
To answer your question, I think that it's not going to change because it's really ultimately not about her as much as about her policies. She wants open borders.
No, she doesn't.
She wants to defund the police. She wants to defund the police. She wants to take away your guns. Anybody that thinks they're not going to come after your guns, you know, when I was...
They've been talking about this again for at least 2 decades. Like, under the George W. administration, I remember, like, fear-mongering about Democrats coming to take your guns. No one has taken your guns. Shut the fuck up, you pissant little babies. You cowardly little shits that constantly feel the need, oh, someone's gonna take my gun, someone's... Fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I'm so done with this blatant fucking propaganda. No one is taking your guns. Have your fucking pew-pew stupid gun. Whatever. I don't care. Lying.
As president, I totally protected the guns. And I think it's very important. And I know I take some heat sometimes for it, but you have to have safety. You have to have, when the bad guy walks in with a gun, you got to have some way of protecting yourself. And boy, that would be, you would see crime go up at levels that you've never seen. When people say on this side of the House, this House has guns, we will use the guns, they say, let's pass. We'll go someplace else. You have to have them.
And then your kid's going to shoot themselves in the face because you're an idiot that didn't lock your gun up correctly. So have fun with that.
For 4 years. And, as you know, the NRA endorsed me very powerfully every time I ran, every time. My sons are members and I guess indirectly.
We know. We saw the pictures of them murdering large African game animals.
I'm a member, too.
Like an elephant and a lion.
But they gave me the strongest of endorsements, and that's against very strong competition. People that felt the same way. No, you have to have that right. Our Second Amendment is a very important right.
Remember the time he said we'll take the guns first and ask questions later? He just has no actual positions.
And it has to be protected. Okay, how about you? Go ahead. Yeah. So there are some of the most brilliant people on Wall Street that are saying that if President Trump doesn't win, you're going to have a depression. I happen to agree.
Is that a threat?
That's true. Because I know how bad these people are. They like to say that they did this and that. You saw the $7 trillion that they said it was me for $7 trillion. It wasn't me. It was them. They said that I had inflation. They took over 9% inflation. No, I had 1% inflation. I had actually no inflation because if you look at the categories...
No inflation isn't good, by the way. Even 1% inflation is below what it's supposed to be. I think 2% is considered sort of the textbook ideal of inflation.
We had just about no inflation, but I had a very minor... I actually had a positive inflation. It was
because a stagnant currency isn't good either. Again, for sort of macroeconomic reasons.
Perfect number, because you don't want zero. I mean, I'm not going to give you a whole course on economics, but you don't want zero. 1%, 1.4% is great. You want a little bit because you don't want to have deflation. Deflation is, in many ways, even worse. I had a perfect number right around the 1% number. It was perfect. And to show you, it stayed there for 2 years. And then he did all of the different borrowings that he did. And
Trump, you did stimulus checks. You did the big stimulus checks, which led to inflation. Don't get me wrong, I think those things were necessary in order to keep people having food during the pandemic. But nonetheless, you did that, which contributed to inflation. You get that, right?
Then he
like that and the PPE loans that were forgiven. All of these things factored into inflation on top of all sorts of other issues.
So many things wrong. Every time he would do it, I'd say, big mistake. And don't forget, they sell hats and they sell stories. Trump was right about everything. I have been right about a lot.
Oh, and if someone puts it on a hat, it can't be a lie. For instance, I'm a cat. Did you know that, apparently?
Yes, Maggie. Well, we had a commission like other people do, and it's always complicated and it's always controversial. And we had commissions that, and I think of respected people, many of the people on the commission.
Do I use a litter box in classrooms? Yes, as a trans, clearly my entire life mission is to traumatize children, so I just find a random school, I kick the door down, they can't stop me because I'm trans, and I just plop a litter box down in a classroom and I squat right there and I take a big dump. Republicans are right. I'm a monster.
And they would recommend to me certain pardons for certain people. Some people were treated very harshly. A fantastic woman, as you know, she served 24 years for being on a phone call having to do with drugs. You know who I'm talking about. She was great. And she had another 24 years to go. And it was largely about marijuana, which in many cases is now legalized, okay? But we had many very highly regarded people on a commission, and they'd recommend. And they'd put a reason why. Some people were, served time, but they served a lot of time for something that today people wouldn't even serve time by. Well, for the most part, I think they did. I mean, they did. They go through. They went through. I had a commission. It was a very important commission to me, and highly respected people. And frankly, they came up with some decisions that I wouldn't necessarily agree with, but I did it. But I let a lot of people out that had no representation. I went to people in jails, in prison that we respected. I said, how many of these people should be let out? We let out large groups of low-income people that were serving like 40 years for something that today you wouldn't even be put in jail for.
That's good. So was Biden. So did Obama. I think those things are good. The pardoning of, like, non-violent drug offenses is an excellent thing. People got fucked.
We had very few people let out because I said I really don't want to let people out where they had a lot of violence, where they had killing, et cetera, et cetera. And for the most part, we didn't do that. Yeah, please.
I like that he said for the most part, which implies he did let out some murderers, just as a treat.
On defense?
Or the Federal Reserve.
Ah,
And do you think
Federal Reserve.
expanding the economy given his current leadership?
Think
Right.
shit talk Gensler,
Well, look,
or not Gensler, right? Is Gensler? Am I getting
the
the
Federal
names
Reserve is
mixed
a
up?
very interesting thing, and
Or was he the really old one?
it's sort of gotten it wrong a lot, and he's tending to be a little bit late on things. He gets a little bit too early and a little bit too late. And, you know, that's very largely it's a gut feeling. I believe it's really a gut feeling.
Economics is a gut feeling. Oh boy, this guy wants to be in charge of the country again. Ah. Benekagami says, and then after you're done, you show them pictures of your wedding. The children faint, falling out of their chairs. The horror.
And I used to have it out with him. I had it out with him a couple of times very strongly. I fought him very hard. And, you know, we get along fine. We get along fine. But I feel the president should have at least say in there. Yeah, I feel that strongly. I think that...
That's not the point. I mean, advisory, sure, but like, you're the president. The Fed is not, it's not yours to do exactly what you want with. That's not how this works.
In my case, I made a lot of money. I was very successful, and I think I have a better instinct than, in many cases, people that would be on the Federal Reserve or the...
Oh my god, he thinks he knows more about what to do with monetary controls than the Federal Reserve. Holy fuck.
chairman. Yeah.
This guy's gonna crash the fucking economy if he becomes the president. Oh.
People going to prison for marijuana.
Yeah.
Harris supports rescheduling marijuana and also says that no one should go to prison for marijuana offense. Do you agree with those positions?
Well, as we legalize it, I start to agree a lot more because, you know, it's being legalized all over the country. Florida has something coming up. I'll be making a statement about that fairly soon. But as we legalize it throughout the country, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's awfully hard to have people all over the jails that are in jail right now for something that's legal. So I think, obviously, there's a lot of sentiment to doing that. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican American, and she went to a historically black college. How is she only recently deciding to be black?
Well, you'll have to ask her that question because she's the one that said it. I didn't say it. So you'll have to ask her, and I very much appreciate that question, but you'll have to ask her. But I've known her for a long time. I actually contributed to her campaign a long time ago because I was a developer. I contributed to lots of campaigns of Democrats, Republicans, and some were liberal and some were conservative. But you'll have to ask her about that. But
I like that he just admits he was throwing money around for influence and has, like, no particular actual commitments or beliefs.
to me, it doesn't matter. But to her, from
He
her...
said the same stuff back in 2016. Like, I don't get it how he could just outright be like, yeah, I was buying influence. You know how it is. And Republicans are just like, he says it like it is. He's the bad guy.
standpoint, I think
A
it's
villain that tells you, like, their villainous schemes and intents and past actions isn't a good person because they're honest about it.
very disrespectful to both, really. Whether it's Indian or black, I think it's very disrespectful to both. To me, it doesn't
Wow, he just said that, huh? Okay.
matter. Please, red dress, red dress.
What is the assassination? Is your ear fully recovered? Is there a scar? Do you have any
Yeah, pretty much recovered, yeah. I'm a fast healer. It's a hell of a
I mean, I don't think it was something that was very difficult to heal from based on what I saw, but okay.
shot, but I'm a fast healer. Yeah, pretty much Pretty much recovered.
Do you have any hearing damage from it?
No, it didn't hit that. I got very lucky. It just hit the lobe, as they call it.
The lobe.
Is there a scar on your ear?
Yeah, a little bit, not much. On top. A little bit.
Nemesaur with a $20 tip says, I'm pretty sure I know more about economics than Trump, and I give money to campmates. See, this is a good investment, though. So I'll use this for food, and you'll get entertainment in return, which is better, probably. Thank you very much for the tip. Only 400 away from the next costume month. Hooray. I think we have, what was today, like the 26th day of the costume month, so we have 5 more days left of this costume month.
Yeah.
When Senator Vance has been asked about that, he sort of suggested that really you only need to go after people who've been convicted of crime.
Well, we're starting that, yeah.
So what are you really talking about here? How will you pay for it?
We are going to start the largest mass deportation in the history of our country because we
Jesus Christ.
have no choice.
He's just a supervillain.
It's not sustainable. And we are going to start with violent criminals, and we're going to start then with criminals. And our local police is going to work with us because they know everything about the people. They
Oh yeah, he's gonna personally get the cops to be his little brown shirts and deport a bunch of people. Lovely.
know their names. They know everything about them. They know their middle name. They know their numbers. And as you know, the other side is trying. Look, for years I wondered, why are they allowing these people to come in at levels like this? It was incredible. And I said 2 reasons. They're either really stupid, and I don't believe they're stupid. Because anybody
You've
that
said multiple times you think they're stupid.
can cheat in elections like they cheat is not stupid. Or, in the alternative, they have bad motives or they hate our country.
Or maybe your understanding of the situation is flawed.
And I used to think they hate our country. But lately I've seen where they're trying to sign these people up to vote. And they
You literally can't vote unless you're a citizen, dumbass.
have to stop. They cannot let illegal...
You cannot register to vote without proof that you are a citizen. So how do you think non-citizens are voting?
immigrants vote
Just fucking lies.
in this upcoming election. All right, one more question. Go ahead, one more. Make it a good one, please.
Regarding Social Security taxes for seniors.
Right.
Experts say that the policy could increase the deficit by $1.6 trillion. So how would it work in your view?
We have so many ways of making money in this country. We're not going to affect our Social Security. We're not changing it. And I proved that over 4 years. And we're going to do it. It's very unfair to people. They spend their life and they're great citizens and they pay in. We're not going to charge tax to Social Security, the seniors. We're not going to do it. We're not going to charge. And also
Dramatic Cuddlefish, thanks for a 3-stream streak, says he looks ghastly. Yeah, he looks real bad.
tax. I say the 2 things. We're going to have
Like,
no
even by his typical standards.
tax on seniors, Social Security, and we're going to have no tax on tips. Very simple. And we are a country that has so many different ways to make money. We have under our feet more liquid gold, I call it oil, and gas.
I call it oil. Texas tea. Oil, that is.
Than any country in the world, much more than Saudi Arabia, much more than Russia. We have so many different ways we can make money. We're not going to hurt our seniors with Social Security, and we're not going to charge them tax. Okay? We should not have sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities is a way of protecting criminals, and we should not have sanctuary cities. And if you go to California, and I know it well, I have property out there, great property.
But I thought you said California was a hellhole, but it's great property? Which is it?
If you go to California and
I thought you said Kamala destroyed California, but you have nice properties there? How does that work?
ask the people of California, do they like the idea of sanctuary cities? They don't like it. They're tired of it. They're tired of crime. They're tired of what's happened to our country.
California's a blue state, so I'm going to guess you're wrong on that.
Our country's become a crime-ridden mess, and we're going to stop it on November 5th. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
That was abrupt. Someone signal him off? Weird. Okay, well, we have a little bit of time left, which is unfortunate because the thing I pulled in case we had extra time was the Trump Adin Ross interview. So, Trump went and talked to the streamer Adin Ross, who sniffs the chairs of his guests, such as Andrew Tate. So, well, let's see. Have I seen this person freaking out? I have not. Let's take a look. Then we'll take a little bit of a look at this and see how painful it is.
If you're a Christian, I do not recommend supporting the new Deadpool.
What? Hold on, I'm seeing if the music is fine.
I went last night with a big group of my friends and my boyfriend, and it was really fun. We had dinner beforehand, and then we went to the cinema to watch it. I was
A boyfriend? Excuse me, young lady, that's an abomination to God. Why aren't you married at 14 and producing little children to worship the Lord?
Nervous because I knew Deadpool is very vulgar, profane, but I enjoy Deadpool a lot. He is so funny, he's one of my favorites, and even though he is very vulgar, he is freaking hilarious. So I
Sounds like you're a hypocrite.
It's just Deadpool. I've seen it before.
Oh yeah, it's probably the Marvel Jesus jokes.
I know he's gonna make some sex jokes. It's part of Deadpool.
See you, Moss Sloth. Have a good night.
But I really wanted to see Wolverine with Deadpool. I thought that'd be really cool. I myself have always loved Marvel, and I didn't think it would be bad, but I have never seen Marvel go this far in mocking Jesus. I don't think I've ever even seen Marvel really mock Jesus.
She's right, you can't. Oh yeah? You don't want to tell me? Beat it out of fan. Down. You're from Earth. Not from Earth, I'm from... Do I serve? What master do you serve? What master do I serve? What am I supposed to say, Jesus?
Keeping in mind that a lot of Marvel that I've seen, I watched before I became born again in Christ. Now that I'm Christian, if I go back and watch Marvel,
Everything's about me and my personal beliefs. Everyone needs to cater to them.
Probably see things that I didn't before. But this film made me heartbroken.
Wow, your priorities are fucked. All right, let's do this Adin Ross thing.
It's going to be the most important stream I've ever done, first of all. Wow. And I want to say thank you for doing this, seriously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Get some good ratings today.
We're going to get some good ratings. Everyone thought
Does Trump know that that's not how the internet works? They don't do Nielsen ratings for live streams.
this was going to be fake today, but, you know, we proved them wrong. So.
No, you're right in the living room of Mar-a-Lago, which I don't allow this to be ever done. So you're the,
oh, they need to up Trump's mic.
the first, just to...
Where do they get these randos to just sit in the background? This is incredibly weird, right? Like, why do they just... It's like Trump needs an audience, otherwise he feels sad. This is his emotional support rally that he takes everywhere with him.
About.
Thank you.
And we'll have a little fun today.
Let's
and
do
my
it.
son Barron says hello. He's a great young guy, but he's a big fan of yours.
What's up, Barron? Yeah, Baron's awesome. He's a great kid. Amazing. He's tall.
guy.
Very tall.
He's tall, good student.
Yeah. He's
Moira Soma, thanks for gifting a sub.
very smart. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he is.
I do want to first off, you know, say this. You know, everyone in the chat, everyone in this room, everyone loves you. And I just want to say you're a true hero for this country, and I really appreciate you. And yeah, I'm really thrilled we could do this today.
I'm so happy now that I'm doing it. give me a... That's great.
So do you know what live streaming is on these platforms?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
More or less.
I'm gonna
More or less. H-Bird says, if you know anyone who's tracked for Nielsen ratings, make sure they watch the DNC. If they get higher ratings than the RNC, it'll drive Trump insane.
New wave.
It's the new wave. It's the new wave. I'm gonna explain it to you, all right? So I'm gonna show you this chat right now. Let me show you this. So this is the live chat. Right. So you already broke the website in 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
you broke it. The chat wasn't working.
Screaming at the Radio says, no, seriously, it's really weird how he cosplays as Trump right next to him.
But we ended up fixing it. It's just very slow. Everyone in the chat say hello. You guys can put hi in the chat. And
I wonder if Barron is a John Doyle fan, too.
I mean, it's good. W means win. Yeah. Yep. So they're putting W's and stuff. Yep. W Trump. All right. So, yeah, everyone is just super thrilled.
You're gonna have big ratings today. I can see it.
Yeah, I want to break 1 million. I think we could do it.
Oh, good. Oh, you'd do much more.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. Elon actually already he commented on the X post that I went live already.
Well, Elon is a great guy.
Yeah, he's great.
He's really a fantastic person. Little imagination he's got, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Rockets and tunnels and everything. He's
Elon, inventor of both rockets and tunnels.
He's a fantastic guy.
He's great. So let's get started today. Let's have some fun.
Let's go.
We'll touch base on some topics, and then we'll do some fun stuff.
Sounds good.
Wow,
Cool?
Adin is a really bad.
A good time. All right. Well,
Tara says, Trump oftentimes looks like he's going, God, what the fuck did I get myself into when dealing with guys like this? Not just these interviews, but everything since 2016 at this point. He could have just been a rich asshole that tweets stuff. And most people have been like, what an asshole, and moved on. Like, he's not only made everyone else miserable, I think he ruined his own life too, which, you know, is a little nice. Altered Undying says, hello from the middle of nowhere, a lake in northern Ontario. I'm at my husband's family cottage. I just finished taking my laundry off the line. Well, I hope you're having fun at the cottage.
the first thing is, the reason why, I really wanted to make this stream happen is because there's a lot of people that are first-time voters watching today. Mm-hmm. And I want to make it very clear to everybody that you're a human being. You're a great human being. I want you to...
Oh, I agree, Amber. The way he talks about Barron sounds like he barely knows him.
Talk in this camera, talk to them and explain why it's very important as a first-time voter to go out and vote and why they should vote for you.
I'd love to do that, and I love having a young audience. This is young. I think you have some oldsters, too, because I also know some oldsters that are listening and watching. But it's about the American dream.
Yeah, old people love kick streaming.
Right now, you don't have the American dream. We have a country that's not respected, a country that's being laughed at, a country that just a little while ago we're having a stock market explosion in a negative way as opposed to a positive way. And that's been happening for quite a while. It's been simmering and really happening for quite a while. And we're going to make this country so strong and so great. And when you're ready for your job, you're going to get a great job, so you can make the kind of money this guy's making, maybe even more if that's possible. Right?
I'm trying to get like you, boss.
But you'll.
Ew. Fenekagami says, Adin Kick is a shit website and is tiny compared to YouTube and Twitch, so yeah, a big celebrity like Trump could easily break the site.
You'll love your life and you'll be successful. And
your father will give you a small loan of $1 million in the 80s or 70s. Bravo Needs Bacon says, I'm more than happy to keep my soul-sucking 9-to-5 job to be famous, than be famous for checks notes sniffing seats.
At a young age, it's really wonderful to think about the American dream. And with Kamala and Joe, I took him out. We had a debate, and the debate didn't go so well for him. And they sort of, what they did, it was really a coup of somebody. He had 14 million votes. He had it. And all of a sudden, they went to him and they said, we don't want you running anymore. And it's sort of like a prize fight from my standpoint. Here, you're focused on this one man.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you're fighting somebody else. But she's actually worse than he is. And you're starting to see that. I think people are going to see that.
I don't believe he sniffed Trump's seat on camera. Wouldn't surprise me if he did off.
It's going to be very evident. So go out. We want the American dream. We're going to give you the American dream, and you're going to be real happy. Thank you.
I have another question. And again, Mr. President, I'm not really fully into politics, but, I'm getting there. And I do want to make this very clear as well, now that it's on my mind. Back when I was I went to high school in California, okay? Right. And a lot of the teachers were basically at the time, this is your first term. They were telling me how horrible of a person you are and all these things. And the teachers, you're not supposed to do that. It's inappropriate to have teachers, discuss politics in school. but it's becoming really normal for a lot of teachers. You know, and you're a kid. You know, when you're a kid, your brain is like a sponge.
That's true.
So I want to know what your thoughts on that. You know, kind of the corruption in the school system in a way. You know, they're teaching some pretty bad stuff in there.
It's been brainwashed to a certain extent. Even the teachers have been brainwashed. They've learned from a long time. This is long before me. This liberal way, or now they call it progressive. They don't like the term liberal. You're not allowed to use that anymore, so I usually use it. But this liberal way that they have.
Progressive and does Trump not understand that progressivism and liberalism are two different things? They are not synonyms. There's some crossover potentially on some issues, but that doesn't make them the same thing.
And it's a bad thing for the country. You know, we want to have borders, we want to have low taxes, we want to have great schools, really, you know, great schools so you can go and learn and be successful and have a wonderful life and all of that. But we want to have a good military so we can protect ourselves from some bad players. You got some bad players out there. And, you know, it's interesting. During my 4 years, we had no war. Other than we had nothing. Everybody was afraid we were going to have wars. And just the opposite. North Korea, I remember Barack Obama was telling me, oh, the biggest problem we have is North Korea. I didn't have a problem with North Korea.
No.
Big nuclear presence. I didn't have a problem. The only war we had was already started long ago, and that was ISIS, and I defeated them in a very
defeated ISIS?
short amount of time.
I remember.
Very quickly. And we had no war.
He's saying the same thing as the last interview. Yeah, he's tired and old and just is repeating the same exact points in every interview. Every rally, it's the same, like, 3 talking points. It's all he has. Sad.
Under the Trump administration, and that's a great thing. You know, that's a really great thing. It was, I think, 82 years since that's happened. And we won't have wars again, but we could have a war before we even get there. That's the problem. We have a number of months. We have 4 months, and the election's starting very soon, and I guess 5 months before you actually get in. And a lot of damage can be done in 5 months by incompetent people. We have very incompetent people right now. And
H-Beard says, teachers these days teach nothing but liberal pap. First they want to pretend that 0 is a number, and they're telling me that the square root of -1 is imaginary. Imaginary numbers. Now come on. All right, Lewis Carroll. Benekagami says, I may work a job where I spent 50 hours a week baking in the sun, spraying chemicals that will likely give me cancer, but at least I'm not working for the website of PDF files and gambling addiction. Yeah, Kick is disgusting.
I'm not saying that out of happiness. I'm saying that out of sadness, because our country's in tremendous danger, not only of stock market crashes or depressions or whatever it may be. It's a tremendous military danger. We have Israel's blowing up, the Middle East is blowing up, Russia's going wild with Ukraine, and things are out of control, and we have nobody that knows how to talk. We have nobody that knows. I was watching when Russia was thinking about going in, and they never would have done it with me. They never, and they didn't. But
so full of shit. Ultra Undying says, I put a picture of the cottage in the live stream chat. Oh, okay, I'll take it.
After I got in, they started loading up the border. I thought he was doing it for negotiation purposes. And Biden said all of the wrong things, everything wrong. And ultimately they attacked. And
hope you're having a good time.
Have done that if I were president. So we got to get back in and get it straightened out. We'll get that one worked out.
100%.
A lot of people dying.
Yeah, it's a lot of innocent lives being lost. You know, you had mentioned, you know, the stock market crashing. I don't know if you obviously, I saw the post you made on your app Truth. You know, when I just saw yesterday and the day before, you know, I'm in crypto and I'm in stocks myself. And I couldn't believe what's going on. You know, you have Japan, you have everybody just falling. And I want to ask you, you know, how do we basically get it back up and flowing and back up and running? And, you know, and what's causing this?
Well, right now you have no confidence. You have somebody that now is taking over from Biden because he just wants to stay in bed all day. He can't get up. He wants to stay in bed. It was a fraud.
I'm sorry. Are they blaming Biden for Japan increasing their interest rates?
They tried to tell people he was competent, he knew what he was doing. And in the debate, he was adjudged to be not so good.
Yeah.
But you can go back 4 years, too. You know, he campaigned from his basement. He didn't campaign. I said, where is this guy during COVID? They used COVID as an excuse not to let him talk.
Yeah.
He talked. He just had small, like, things and not big rallies because COVID was a thing. It still is, but not as much, although cases are going up, I think, currently.
The whole thing was a fraud, and everybody knew it.
Thanks, MH Turk Beast.
They knew it strongly. And we're going to get it going again. We have to get it going again. They put us in a very bad position. The worst thing is we have probably, I think, Aiden, 20 million people came into our country with open borders. And
the noise gate on that mic, I think, is too sensitive, so it keeps, as he's trailing in and out of sentences, it's cutting him off weirdly below a certain threshold, so it sounds awful.
Many come from prisons, and you can be a liberal, and your people can be, but coming from some of the meanest prisons all over the world, not just South America, from all over the world, from the Congo and Africa, they come from all over the world, they're coming, and they're releasing their prisoners into the United States. Now, you can be a liberal guy, you can be progressive as any.
Kagami says, can you believe MAGA thinks this interview was good for Trump and they think leftists are melting down over it? What?
Anybody in the world, and you can't think that's a positive thing. No. They're coming out of mental institutions. They're pouring into the United States, and they're hurting and damaging our country, and they're killing our people. And the crime rate with what you're talking about and what we're talking about, we call it migrant crime. It's a new form of crime, and it's a very violent crime. And it's going to take on proportions the likes of which this country has never seen before. And remember, these people are just getting accustomed. These are people coming out of mental institutions, prisons and jails, and many terrorists. We're having record numbers of terrorists coming in. So
yeah, I don't think he knows what political asylum is.
I'm talking, I assume, mostly to a young audience, but a young audience, no matter where they're coming from, they can't be happy about this.
No, they can't. Jobs are being taken, a lot of crime. So what, President,
Famously, all the undocumented immigrants are becoming kick streamers and ruining Aiden's day.
President Trump, what do we do to fix that issue? What if I happen to be born in another country and I want to come the right way? How would that work?
Well, that's what we want. We want people to come in, but they have to come in through a system, through a legal system. And one of the things that's
seeking asylum and claiming asylum is a legal process. Fun fact.
We have hundreds of thousands of people that have applied to come in, and this administration doesn't talk to them.
Right.
But if they walk through the southern border, they have no problem getting in. I don't even know why they're doing this, but some people are waiting 10 years to come in, and they've studied, they learned all about the United States, about our Constitution, about everything, and they're not being let in, and we're allowing people to come in from really rough places, really bad places. And they come in through caravans, and these caravans have 10, 20, 30,000 people. And they're pouring through Mexico.
That's crazy.
And Mexico was great when I was there. They were helping us. I had stay in Mexico.
AJ, thanks for following.
That means you have to stay in Mexico. You can't come into this country until we approve you. They gave it up. Now they just walk right in. Wow. They had catch and release. We had catch and release. That's you catch a criminal and you release them into our country. I said, no. We catch a criminal and we release him into Mexico. I think you feel better about that.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's one of those things. There's so many things. They are so bad. It's like amateur night. It's either amateur night or they want to destroy our country.
Right. Do you what do you think about what's going on in Venezuela? The whole situation now.
It is Aiden, unfortunately.
Out there.
Well, I know it very well, and Venezuela is right now being run by a dictator. We were enemies with Venezuela. Venezuela was going to collapse, and people could have gone back to Venezuela. They're in our country now. They've released tremendous numbers of criminals into our country. If you look at Caracas, it was known for being a very...
Okay, we're almost done for the day, and I'm sure he goes on a lot of his statements, but I really wanted to get to the part where he gets gifted a Cybertruck. Let's do that. Oh my god, he's got a Diet Coke!
You kill it. You make it kill it.
Oh, it's great. Sounds good. Stay right there. We're going to take a good time every day.
By the way, do you like my buddy Felix's shirt?
I love that.
Felix, by the way, Mr. Trump.
That's fantastic. Wow.
Yeah, you got the grills on.
I like that.
I'm so embarrassed.
Hey, I know. That's what I noticed. I noticed the grill. Nice to see you. Thank you. Congratulations.
All right. Well, you could already see the gift.
Yeah, I can. Wow.
You can't miss it.
That's an Elon.
It is an Elon.
Wow.
Shout out to Mr.
He doesn't even sound excited about it. Wow.
That's beautiful. Hey, that is beautiful.
Am I going to close the door really quick? Just I want to show him the wrap.
Sure.
Check out this rap and let me know your honest thoughts.
Hey, I wrapped this car in an image seconds after you almost got shot in the head. Don't you want to remember this moment every time you get in this death machine?
I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible.
Go to the front.
So you know what they did? AI. What Google did is they took, or they let it happen. See the Secret Service agents here?
Yeah.
They're angry in there. They put smiles on their face.
Right.
You heard about that?
Yeah, no.
What? He thinks Google edited a photo?
That's just
Does he know how Google works or what Google is?
terrible.
Yeah, I know. But that's how easy it is to manipulate
It's
everything.
a little bit scary.
Yeah, it is. It's very scary. We need like a system where we can
Somehow made the Cybertruck uglier. It's impressive.
quickly fact check things and see if it's real and authentic.
Yeah,
Oh, and they love fact checks, don't they?
and right now they don't have that.
No, they don't.
That's the problem.
So, I know we're not going to drive anywhere, but I was wondering if you wanted to like listen to like a song in here.
Let's go.
All right, cool. This is how you open
This
it
would
up.
have been the funniest moment for Adin Ross to straight up kidnap the former president. Man, that would have been a headline. Extremer kidnaps former President Trump in Cybertruck. Lance says, normal people giving the rich and influential gifts of any value baffles me. Oh, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Up.
It is incredible.
Yeah, it is. I'll get on the other side.
Different kind of a guy.
Okay, Aiden, so.
We good? We back? We good? Oh, we're good. All right. Now this is cool.
It's very good.
I've never even seen you in a car before.
Not too many. that's look at
Cars are for the poors, he says in his head.
the playlist, huh?
This is your playlist.
It's a good,
Your team picked out.
yeah.
You want to pick a song? Let's test out
Okay,
this
so
sound
let's
system.
try it.
Whatever this song is, I'm almost certainly not going to get to play it.
And you know, some of the artists I like better than others, but I like the other song better. So it's always tough.
Who's like your top 3 artists?
Well, we love Frank Sinatra, right?
Of course.
He's so old. I like Frank Sinatra too.
And you know, there's a couple that I really like, but I don't like the people, so I don't want to really mention their name.
Chitara says, Trump sounds like a grandpa listening to his grandkid go on and on about some newfangled thing he doesn't understand. Kid voice. And this is a Cybertruck, and we put a WAP on it. Look, it's your face, Mr. President. Oh, wow, that's nice.
But look at this list as an example. So it's such a great list. Aren't the Beatles always good?
Come on, they're the best.
Rolling Stones are always good.
Hot take, the Beatles are pretty good, huh?
Choose one. Let's
at that.
You,
So
you
let's
go
do-
choose what you like to choose. You
let's-
just swipe like this.
Oh yeah. That's fantastic, huh? How about, and we like the Beach Boys. We always like the Beach Boys.
We do like the Beach Boys.
Who doesn't like the Beach Boys?
Hip with the kids. Kids love the Beach Boys.
How about if we did the following? How about thinking that it's going to come back under proper management? How about California Dreaming?
Let's do it.
Good.
California dreaming.
Here we go. Let's test this thing out. All right, Elon. Let's see how good this system is. I want to say one thing.
Skipped ahead because of the music.
This is by far the best live stream I've ever done. I want to say thank you.
Well, it's a no.
And
It's a no.
I do want to say I do want to do a little victory dance with you.
Okay.
I want to step out the car, blast the music, and dance because I just had the best stream ever. You were right. You called it right before. What did you? You called me in the room and you said, "Watch, we're gonna have the most hits ever." Watch.
I think you will. And do you know what the hits are yet? Do you know? Have
No.
you been able to tell?
I want to.
When will you know?
We crashed multiple times.
I think you'll crash, yeah.
I think
Whatever
we're gonna
it
see.
is.
I'm gonna get all the analytics, the real live view count, everything.
Well, you'll let me know, but I think you'll have the biggest show. You know, Nelk had by far their biggest show.
I know. And that was. I hated it when YouTube took them down.
So they had 7.5 million hits in like an hour, and then they were taken down. And I told them they'd be taken down.
And they still left it up.
They
Right.
were great. No, they left. But I said YouTube or whoever it was took them down.
Right.
And I said that would happen. And I said, so let me ask you, if that happens, are you going to fold? They said, nope. And they never did. but they were taken down. But they had 7.5 million in a very short period.
Wow, that's crazy. I just seen somebody said with all the pages, all the people live rewatching us,
right.
We had over 1 million. We hit over 1 million live, which is amazing.
You're gonna have a lot.
Yeah.
I hope you're gonna break your record by a lot, and I think you will, for whatever reason. I mean, I won't get into that, but for whatever reason, people seem to like watching. I will say it's an honor to be with you too.
Thank you.
You're a young guy that's got an amazing. Maybe someday you'll run for president.
I don't know about that. I'll leave it to Barron maybe one day.
Barron.
But I would love to
proxy.
Help Barron. When it comes to we need.
I'm worried about Pennsylvania.
You back in office, man. Let's hit this dance.
How about this song by Elvis?
Elvis? Yo, Don't's a great song.
Oh, great, right? He had the greatest songs of people that left him.
I think Kamala Harris. You'll still let it go? Let it fly.
She's got his.
Kagami says Adin should have played Disturbed, Vengeful One, Land of Confusion, or No More. Their songs about people like Trump, and he's dumb enough to think they're positive about him.
Save the country, but it's not going to happen. They're not going to be able to do it. They're not going to be able to come close. That's great. Great to be with you.
It's great. It's great. I just want to,
What's a good one?
The YMCA, man.
YMCA is the best. Right?
That's the best one. The outro out, you know what I mean?
Do they know that the YMCA is about fucking dudes at the gym? Because Trump has used this for years. Do they know that? Or do they just think it's funny? Like, I don't...
Right here.
No, I think is it this one?
Look at him!
I'll tell you about TikTok. Trump is going to keep TikTok going, whereas Biden, Harris, they have no idea what it means. And all it's going to do is be good for China the other way. It's no good. We're going to save TikTok. They want to destroy TikTok. So all of the people on TikTok, vote for Trump.
Vote for Trump. An amazing stream. W's in the chat.
Thank you, man.
Any last words? Live stream.
It was ostensibly about getting people to go to the YMCA. Yeah, and Go West is just about manifest destiny. Rayline says, fun to end stream. Snakes don't blink. I'll take a look at that in a sec once this video's done.
I just want to make sure you break your record.
Really
if you don't break your record, disappoint you.
I think you broke it. Thank you, Mr. President. We can end that.
Wow. Trump has been doing some embarrassing stuff lately, even by his own standards. Pretty impressive.
Mr. President, there have been some unusual rumors circulating lately. How do you respond to these recent allegations?
These accusations are completely unfounded and frankly absurd.
To be clear, sir, you're denying the claims that you are in fact a lizard person and the existence of a shadowy lizard oligarchy.
I can assure you.
He blinked! He's one of them!
Mr. President!
Are there more like Mr. President? Mr. President, there have been some unusual rumors.
All right. So, I think we're done for the day. Thanks everyone for watching all this Trump stuff with me, because it's really hard to get through. Tomorrow we'll probably do something a little more fun. We'll probably do... Maybe we'll do a VHS vault tomorrow. Yeah, it's a Saturday. We'll probably do a VHS vault tomorrow. So, yeah. Come hang out. It'll be good. We're getting closer to our 3rd costume month goal, which is great. Be chipping away at that, and we'll hang out and watch some silly old VHS videos. Trump is a painful human being. I agree. Love you too, Mr. Blast. Alright, let's see who we're gonna raid on Twitch.
Convey and express to people around us within our communities, if we can be effective at reaching
But this,
people
here's
there,
a channel
we can then
that
empower
shows
them.
conspiracy theorists. You guys know how I enjoy that stuff. Something from Vinegar Syndrome? What is it? Oh, T-blockers. Yeah, I actually have the DVD of this. This is the zombie movie, I think. It's a zombie movie, if I remember correctly, where anti-androgens keep you from becoming a zombie, so it's only trans women, basically, that aren't affected. But I don't know. Maisie Maison. Okay, we can raid Maisie. Alright. Have a good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. And if I don't, I'll see you soon. I feel like something was coming up soon. Oh, the Trump Elon thing. Next time we cover Trump stuff will probably be after that interview, because I'm sure you all want to see me tortured by listening to two of my least favorite people in human history talking to each other. That one's gonna be rough. So I'll see you then. Have a good night, everyone.